Hello and welcome to Saturday's coverage of the FAB-Racing Minibike British Championship. My name is Lewis Ray and alongside me this weekend is Adam Reid. Coming up today is a jam-packed full day of races, and let's hear from some of the riders down in the paddock earlier on. So we're here with Paul Haskins from LS2 Helmets. So Paul, why don't you tell everyone why you're here this weekend?
I've been invited down here. We've been helping a few of the young riders for a few years now. People like Ollie Hall, Ollie Sims, Clayton. There's a few that we've been helping. So I've been invited down a few times to come along, and this has been one of my first 3 weekends where I could actually get down here to come and see what happens at FAB-Racing. So it looks fantastic so far.
Yeah, I was about to say that. What is your first impressions of this paddock and this championship? Because obviously you help out quite a few riders here.
The main thing with the paddock, I can't believe how busy it is and how many riders there are here. It's it's fabulous. And obviously I work at the BSBs and I go to GPs and World Superbikes and everything. So it's great to see young kids like this starting off that are building up and stepping stone through to these sort of things. Next step after here, I know now we have a lot of the riders at the BSB. Brad Ray, for example, obviously not in our helmet, unfortunately, but you know, he's come through. He's won the BSB Championship now and the World Superbike Championship. Lots of the riders are starting here. It's just fantastic.
And on a normal day-to-day basis, away from the paddocks, what is your job at LS2 Helmets?
I'm the sales director of LS2 for the UK, so I run the UK arm of it. So, as a company, we've been... Well, the parent company has been going for 33 years. LS2 as a brand has been going for 16 years. We supply helmets in over 105 countries now around the world. So I'm very honoured to be part of that in the UK.
And now LS2 Helmets have sponsored the MiniGP 70 class, and now it's the LS2 Helmets MiniGP 70 British Championship. So what's it been like to have that involvement with a junior series and a real stepping stone to greater things?
Well, same as I said earlier, that is the point of it. We want to help these young riders, and as they progress through, hopefully they'll be wearing an LS2 helmet. And the winner of the championship this year is actually part of the prize. He will receive an LS2 helmet and sponsorship for the next year in the GP 70 class. So it's a stepping stone for them. So we're just helping as much as we can. Well,
Paul, it's great to see you here, and it's great for you to come along this weekend.
Fantastic. Hope we can catch up at another round again soon.
So we're here with winner Bennett Racing in the standard Moto team class. First of all, guys, how are you this weekend?
Yeah, good, mate. Got here at 25 past 10 last night, so just got through the gate before it shut down. Got all set up by 11 and good to go, ready to get out there.
And I believe this is your second weekend here at FAB. Why don't you explain to everyone what you've been doing before you came to this championship?
We've been racing CB 500s with Thundersport. Never done a full season, just like odd meets here and there, and just looking to have a bit of fun, really.
And what's the Moto team class like to race in?
Yeah, it's really good, actually. Yeah, we really enjoyed Lids. The bikes are easy to work on, they're cheap, no complaints. Yeah.
I'm having a little chat with your teammate at the moment. So how are you finding racing at Lid? What was your first and second round like?
First round started off really poor, kept on having car problems, and tank rust kept on going into the carb. So it was just a weekend full of fixing carbs, really, but I managed to get good times and a few podiums, so it worked out well in the end. So I'm just hoping today, this weekend will be the same. So.
And what are you finding like moving to go-kart circuits on these pretty big motorcycles?
To be honest, it's a lot of hard work. There's no rest. But yeah, you just got to keep battling through it and getting your knee down and just trying to get faster, really. But yeah, they're just little short circuits, aren't they? So.
And what's this paddock been like? Has it been quite an inviting paddock, or what's the atmosphere like?
Yeah, it's brilliant atmosphere. I mean, we only turned up last night. We had a chaperone helping us, guide us in here and helping us unpack and talking and stuff. So yeah, it's so far it's brilliant.
And finally, it's both of you. What are your hopes for this weekend? I'll start off.
Winning, at least the podium.
Is that a win overall or in the standard class?
either or, I want to win. So my main aim is to win a championship, because I missed out in Thundersport by a few places, but I'm going to redeem it.
And are you going for the race win this weekend, the championship even?
Well, yeah, I'm going to try my hardest, mate, but, you know, it's like there's a lot of fast lads here. I found that out at Lids, so, yeah, do my best, go out, have a good race and enjoy myself.
Well, good luck to both of you. I hope you have a good time this weekend.
Yeah, will do, mate, thank you.
Thank you very much. Take care.
Now then, we're here with Bailey Lawrence. So, Bailey, how are you feeling going into the third round of the championship here at Red Lodge?
I think it's going quite all right so far. I prefer the pit bikes to the match kits a lot, because I just gelled with them easier than I did with the match kits.
And what's been the biggest thing since moving from the MiniGP 50 machine to the pit bike 140? What's been the biggest thing that you've had to change?
It's definitely a much bigger grid, so you have to be more wary of what your surroundings, because there's so much more people. Because on the 50s there was like 8 people on the grid, but here there's like 20 odd, and it's like, oh god.
And has Taylor managed to give you any tips heading into this season? Of course, quite an experienced rider in the pit bike 140s himself.
Yeah, he's definitely been one of my harshest critics. He's here today actually. He's not racing, but he's just watching the racing. But he's definitely been giving me a lot of pointers.
And going back to last season, how do you think 2022 went for yourself?
It went all right. I mean, like I said, the match kits weren't that much. I didn't really gel with them, but I reckon this season will be a much better season.
And talking about this season, have you got any hopes or aims or anything going into it?
I just want to at least get a decent amount of points for my first year and have fun.
And now you've been to Red Lodge quite a few times in your racing career, so what is Red Lodge like as a circuit?
It's a very twisty circuit, a lot of tight bends and some bends where you have to like flip real quick, but it's a good track in general. It's a really good track.
Well, we wish you the best of luck for this weekend and we hope everything goes well for you.
Thank you.
So we're here now with Charlie Huntingford. So Charlie, how are you feeling going into this weekend, and why don't you tell everyone what bike you'll be racing on?
Yeah, so heading into this weekend, I'm just here to have a bit of fun and play around on the bikes. I'm riding a Metro 70 and a KTM 85.
And what's made you pick the Extreme 200 class and the Mini GP 70 class to come here and race this weekend?
I picked the Extreme 200 class because there's a wider range of bikes you're able to ride and parts you're allowed to put on the bikes.
And of course, you're racing the British Talent Cup this season. The opening round of Silverstone has came and it's gone. So how did the first round go for yourself?
Yeah, the first round went really well. We got started off with really good qualifying ahead of we had a really good successful Spain test. In the first race we were consistently in the front group, finishing 10th, and in the second race had a little bit of an error, hit a false neutral and came 14th, but overall a really good weekend.
And Donington Park is next weekend, of course, for the British Talent Cup Championship. So how are you feeling going into that? Do you feel prepared? Is it a circuit that you like?
Yeah, Donington Park's my favourite circuit on the calendar. And we've just been speaking to Tom Oliver and he's been saying the new surface is absolutely awesome, so can't wait.
And what makes Donington such a great circuit for yourself?
The undulation of the track. I think that makes it so special compared to other tracks.
And Red Lodge here this weekend, is this a circuit that you like?
It's alright, I've grown to like it a lot more than I used to, but on the bigger bikes it's a little bit tight, but it's a nice track.
And I'm sure you've kept up to date with round one of FAB, of course, at Lid. And the Mini GP 70 class, it's massive this season, so how are you feeling going into that?
Going into the 70 class, I'm just like looking at all the riders that are competing in it.
And have you got any hopes for this weekend?
No, just overall have some fun and hopefully get some good results.
Well, we wish you all the best of luck for this weekend and of course next weekend at Donington Park.
Thank you.
So we're here with one of our new outfits this weekend in the Sidecar class, the number 11 outfit. So first of all, guys, what are your names for everyone listening at home?
I'm Jamie Alexander. Martin Hills.
And what has made you guys come here to FAB to race the Mini F1 Sidecar?
Well, we saw a couple go around. My brother's a bike instructor and he mates with Mike Ems, and we got introduced that way, so we saw it, thought we'd give it a go.
And what one of you guys are the passenger here?
And lucky, mine.
Yeah. And I believe you guys haven't even sat on the Mini F1 Sidecar properly yet.
No, not even done 10 yards on it yet.
And have you had any racing experience yourself?
I've done race cars, quads, go-karts before, and just thought we'd try something a bit more fun and lower budget.
And so we're here, Martin, yourself, you're the passenger this weekend. How are you feeling going into it?
Fine at the moment. I'll be nervous on the grid.
And have you had any racing experience yourself?
I've done a bit of motocross, and that's about it, really. Go-karting.
And what are you expecting this weekend here at FAB?
No idea. Absolutely no idea.
And with the class, I'm sure you've probably watched some of it at home, either at the circuit or on your phones. So what have you guys seen from this class so far this year that's really made you want to step into it?
It just looks like good fun. It looks like a giggle. It's a real community in the pit. Yeah, it just seems like a good thing to get into, really. So thought we'd give it a go.
And the circuit itself, Red Lodge, you've not had a go, I don't believe, to actually go on the track just yet, but just looking at it from an outsider's perspective, what do you make of the circuit?
Looks like a nice, well made out circuit. Yeah, well facilities. Yeah, nothing to. It looks good.
And have you got any aims for this weekend?
Stay on.
Well, I wish you the best of luck and I hope you have a lot of fun.
Thank you very much.
Thank you. Thank you.
So we're here with Vince Bailey and Amy Tolbruck. So first of all, Vince, how are you feeling going into this weekend?
We're looking forward to it. It's home round, very much home round, and it's a difficult track because it's the only left-handed circuit we have. So it's hard for driver and passenger because it's going in the opposite to every other circuit. So it makes you work really hard, but it's fast and it's short. So yeah, should be good.
And if we go back to the first and second round at Lid, how was that as a circuit for sidecars, first of all, and how did that weekend go for yourself?
For sidecars, we love it. It's a tremendous track, fast, flowing, open corners. It's a real joy on a sidecar. For us, brand new outfit. Charlie Ems has made us a brand new chassis. Mick Williams has turned us new hubs, and we've gone to a two-stroke. We've gone to a KTM 85. Which has really given us something to think about. It's very different to the CBR we had last year, totally different power delivery and a bit crazy, to be honest.
And changing from a four-stroke to a two-stroke, what's been the biggest change that you have had to make, either to your riding styles or just whenever you're out on the bike itself?
Use of throttle for me as rider. Basically, it's so aggressive when it hits the power that actually, if you're too savage on the throttle, it's throwing us everywhere. So we're learning. We got better through the entire weekend. We gradually found time every session, every race. Came out. We were really pleased with the second in the last race in round 2. So yeah, every circuit's now blank canvas because it's different to the CBR. So just got to find it.
And if we move over to Amy Tolbruck now, Amy, of course, from a passenger perspective, what's it like to ride one of these mini F1 sidecars?
It's blooming hard work, but very exciting. You never stop. You're always you're backwards and forwards, side to side, having a real think about what's going on ahead of you, and the whole, and who's coming up behind you as well. So it's hard work, but it's exciting. Yeah.
And what's the two-stroke being like for yourself? Of course, you're the passenger, and you're putting in a lot of effort to turn the motorcycle. So have you had to change anything yourself?
Trying to stay on the back of it, basically, in rights, because it's so fast. I was actually coming off the back. If they see a nice yoga block on the back there to keep me on, basically. So yeah, and we got air, didn't we, at Lid as well one time?
It was power wheelie in third. It's quite a savage.
So it's right.
Engine.
Okay, right. Yeah. Get on with it, cling on.
And going into this weekend, we have quite a few new outfits. How are you feeling going into that? Are you happy there's more outfits, more competition?
Oh, yeah, it's really nice. I think there's 10 on the grid, and it will just be, we have 5 or 6 often, and having 10 will be great. It's just lovely to look around and see people, it's great. Yeah.
And what are you guys hoping for this weekend here at Red Lodge?
Just to do as best as we can, I think. Enjoy it and do as best as we can.
Well, thanks, guys. It's great seeing you, and it's great seeing the partnership you guys have.
Thank you.
Thank you very much,
nice
guys.
To see you.
Let's go into the bike.
It's a little bit of my birthday weekend as well for Sunday, and then I get to see Byron and Austin once in a while, so it's a little break from Bemsey, so we can get a little bit of practice and just have some fun.
And going back to the first 2 rounds of the championship, how would you say Lid went for yourself? Obviously you had a crash in the final day of the weekend, so how are you feeling?
Pretty good, a lot better than before. Definitely hurt that last crash, but yeah, I'm back, so I'm going to try to push again and see how I do.
And you mentioned you're racing in Bemsey this year, I believe in the 300 class. How is that going for you, stepping up onto a bigger motorcycle?
Pretty good. I'm around top 15, so in the first race I've ever done I got top 10, so I'm doing pretty good.
And what's it been like adapting to the bigger circuits around the UK, such as Brands Hatch, Alton Park, circuits like that?
It feels like everything's in slow motion. Like even the crashes, if you crash, it feels like everything's slow motion.
And moving on to the Extreme 200 class this year, moving from the MiniGP 7A, how are you finding that change?
Pretty hard. Like, I love the 70. It's probably the best bike I've ever bought. Like, that bike was like everything to me. So moving on to the CR85 is like pretty hard, but it's fun. It's nice to come and play.
And how was it last round racing against talents such as Casey O'Gorman, Sullivan Mente? What's it like racing against them?
Hard, definitely hard. But it's fun to get some nice tips and tricks from them and to learn when I'm riding behind them.
And going into this weekend, what are your hopes? What are you looking for?
I'm not really looking for any positions. I'm just looking to learn a little bit and just see my friends, have some fun, maybe like talk to a little bit of the rookies about the tracks and stuff.
Well, I hope you enjoy this weekend. I hope you enjoy celebrating your birthday weekend in style.
Thank you.
So we're here in the paddock at the moment, and Will Howard hard at work returning to the championship this year. He wasn't attending at round 1, but of course racing in the Minimoto class, senior Minimoto class and the Moto team class this year. He's coming in and aiming for the championship, it seems. He has got another Moto team bike with him, so it'll be interesting to see if he takes it out for a little play this time today. But clearly getting involved with the mechanical side of things, you can actually see the vest that he's got over his levers. That is the airbag. It's one of the airbags that are external on the motorcycle rider, rather than inside the levers like our lever manufacturers. But you can also see the tyres itself. A lot of these Moto team tyres are Moto free scrubs, so they're just Dunlop slicks, and they take quite a lot to get some temperature going into it. You can see from the rear tyre it has been used quite a bit, but Will Howard getting ready to go out, and we're going to have to wait and see if he can try and defend his title and win races like we see him do last year. Now then, we're here with 3-star talent in the FAB-Racing paddock. We're here with Sebastian Gieslowski, Ronnie Harris, and of course Sullivan Mente. So we'll start off with Sebastian. So Sebastian, you're moving up a class this season from the AC40 rookies. How's it going so far?
Really, really well, because I love this track.
And last season you had a good battle with Taylor Tomlinson in the rookie class. What was that like to be in?
It was really fun, and it was like a really fun game.
And this year, moving up a class, are you hoping to do the same by getting race wins, fighting for the championship?
Yes.
And Taylor is doing quite well this year as well, moving up to the pro class. Is he your main rival this season, or what's your aim?
To come first.
And this circuit, is it a circuit that you enjoy?
Yes.
Why is that?
Because I love the bumpy corners and getting undercuts.
Well, we wish you the best of luck for this weekend.
Thank you.
And now if we move up to two of our older riders here at FAB, we'll start off with Ronnie Harris. So Ronnie, in the Extreme 200 class for this year, how is that going so far?
We had a good start. I got a couple of third places, but on the last race of round 1, we had some suspension trouble, which put me out of round 3. And we didn't get many laps in yesterday either, but because obviously I don't want to go out and crash because I got Donington next weekend. But I had a good morning warm-up. I'm sort of warmed up, and I'll just see how I do in qualifying.
So what exactly was wrong with your KTM 85cc machine?
Well, we just before the round we'd had a complete rebuild on the engine and suspension, but my rear shock lost all its oil in I think it was qualifying. We didn't know until after race 2, so it was too dangerous to ride. But yeah, it's fixed now. We've had it rebuilt, and so far so good.
And what's the Extreme 200 class been like to race in so far this year? Of course, moving from the MiniGP 70 class.
Well, the 85 is a completely different bike. It's, in a way, it's easier to ride. In a way, it's harder to ride. It's because it's originally a motocross bike. It's more forgiving if you get the gears wrong, but in a way, it's also it's less stable than the Metro kit because you're higher up. But so far, there haven't been many people in the class, but hoping some more people come into the class, and it should be quite competitive.
And your brother is racing this round as well. What's it been like so far this year for him?
He had a good start to the year. I can't quite remember where he got at the round 1 and 2, but he was up there, and I think he's hoping to top 5s, top 4s, maybe even a podium this round.
And finally, in the British Talent Cup this year, moving up onto a bigger bike, bigger circuits, how have you found that step?
I had my wild cards last year, so I sort of knew where I was at when I got on the bike, but it's a lot different and it's a lot more competitive. We got Donington next round, and it's a track that I know already from my wild card, so I'm sort of going to turn up and sort of know my way around, so I'm looking forward to it.
Well, good luck for this weekend and next weekend at Donington Park.
Thank you.
And now, finally, Sullivan Mente racing last round as well at Lid in the Extreme 200 class, having an epic battle with Casey O'Gorman. How was that for yourself on board the motorcycle?
Yeah, it was alright, to be honest. It was a bit annoying that we didn't end up getting past him, and then the team wanted to keep me hungry for Silverstone, so we didn't end up doing Monday, but that's just how it goes sometimes. But it was a really good weekend overall, and I ended up going back there for a bit more practice, and was only 1/10 off Charlie Nesbitt's 40.6 and way faster than me and Casey were going even when he'd done Monday, so it was really good. It showed the pace that I have around there, and it was just a fun weekend, good training, and just good time spending time helping Luke and a couple of the other riders like Seb, and just having some fun.
And going back to the last round, you had a small off on the back straight whenever you were having the battle with Casey. Why don't you just explain to everyone at home what mistake that was from either yourself or Casey?
So it wasn't really, it was Casey was trying to keep it pinned and took a bit too much curb, and as he's lost the rear, as I was a little bit faster through the left to the right, as I was keeping it pinned, he has a little roll off and goes back on it, and as he's rolled off, I'm keeping it pinned, and because of the nature of how our bikes are, which they are ultimately the same, but his is just a little bit faster down the straight, I basically tried to keep it pinned around the outside, and the one lap I do that, he has a moment and I'm on his outside, and as he's there on the curb, I have nowhere to go but the grass, and then he looks behind, but then it's too late, I'm already on the grass, and that's just how it goes sometimes. But I think I came out of that crash fine, nothing happened, and I just was ready to rock and roll for the next race. Just a bit of bike damage, but only a couple grass marks.
And next round at Donington Park for the British Talent Cup, I'm sure you'll be aiming to be fighting at the front. Sadly, the likes of Johnny Garness will not be there, and I believe even Emmanuel Brint and Rhys Stevenson won't be there either. So what are you aiming for next round at Donington Park? Are you hopeful to be up there at the front?
The plan is to do what I try and do every weekend, which is to win, but we're not going to be there on Friday practice due to my GCSEs. So it's going to be a bit touch and go, going straight into qualifying and then to warm-up race. So I hope I'm going to be able to perform as well as I can and just go in as I always do with a blast. But it's just about getting up to speed as quick as possible. But luckily it was we rode Donington Park GP last time we were there rather than National, so I'm pretty up to speed with the tracks. I know we've got the team, we've got the foundation, and I'm sure my teammates will be wanting to help me get up to speed as quick as possible, and just I'm ready to rock and roll now. Just a week before and my first GCSE on Monday, so a bit of stress and tender and revising here at the track, so we'll just have to see how it goes for my GCSEs. But as you say, Donington's coming up, and I just can't wait for that round. And I hope you guys are all there and coming to Donington Park and see you there.
Yep, a lot of the Fab riders racing the British Talent Cup next weekend at Donington Park. Well, Sullivan, we wish you good luck, first of all, this weekend at Fab with your GCSEs and at Donington Park for the British Talent Cup.
Thank you, guys. See you soon.
So we're doing a quick paddock walk at the moment, and the paddock's very, very busy this weekend, and we've got just a group of riders up here. Ollie Sims having a little chat in his helmet at the moment, and even look at Alan racing in the British GP2 Championship this year, and he's on crutches at the moment as well, so we'll find out why. But first of all, Ollie Sims, I believe you're just about to head out, so just a quick one. How are you feeling this weekend?
Yeah, it's gone alright. I had a little spill yesterday on the Mini, but other than that, it's been alright.
And what's the class been like to race in this season? Because grids have massively expanded.
Yeah, it's a better grid than last year, which is good.
And is it harder to battle in? Is there more battles going on? What's it like on board the motorcycle?
Last round, it was really hard to overtake because we were all so close together.
And finally, any aims for this weekend here at Red Lodge?
Try and get my times up as much as I can, try and get a podium.
Well, good luck for this weekend, and we're going to wish you all the best, of course, and we hope to see some great battles on the circuit.
Thank you.
So look at Alan here in the Fraser Rogers 89 Racing team gear, and well, you're on some crutches at the moment, Lucas, so why don't you explain to everyone at home what's happened?
Yeah, so we was at round one in qualifying, just the early stages. The plan was just to get some laps in that we done on the tyres in FP2, and then get a decent lap to qualify me, then put some new rubber in. Then I put new tyres in, come in after a few laps, put new tyres in, and I'll come into turn 2, the kink left, and just folded the front, landed the other side of the track, and unfortunately someone ran over my ankle, so we've snapped the one side and the other side's nearly there. So,
and of course you've recently came back from a leg injury yourself, racing this year, full-time championship in the GP2 class. Going up to that point, what was it like to race on that GP2 bike? How was it going for yourself time-wise?
Yeah, it was weird getting back on a bike again. So obviously after a year out, that's a big thing, massive thing. And then got back out on it in Spain. We was feeling good. We had good pace coming up to it. Back to BSB. We had a good winter. We had a good Silverstone test in the wet, but I've always gone well in the wet. I then come to race weekend. I just got a bit over myself. I think I went, I'm back in the BSB paddock, and then just got a bit overwhelmed with it all, and this happened. So it is what it is.
And finally, is there any recovery time at the moment for yourself?
We'll be back next weekend.
Do you feel like you're going to be bike fit?
Yeah, we'll be there at Donington. We'll be giving it our best anyway.
Well, we wish you all the best of luck, and we hope you enjoy yourself this year.
Cheers, thank you.
Well, now then, we'll quickly speak to Austin Johnson. Just before you head out, how are you feeling going into this weekend?
I'm feeling good. I quite like overtaking on this track since it's tight.
And of course it's quite a tight circuit, so what is it like to make moves here? Is it difficult to do?
It's a bit tight, so it's a bit more difficult, but I like pinning people behind the back markers.
And racing in the MotoGP motorcycles this season, what's it been like racing in that class?
It's a bit harder than the minis, but I'm getting better every time.
And I believe you've been doing some Supermoto in between the first round 2 and round 3 of Fab, so what's that been like at Teesside?
I love doing that. It's the best thing ever. Everyone's really nice, and I'm hoping to do some more of that as well.
Does it help much for here racing at Fab, getting that extra bike time?
I think it does, because as well as tarmac, they also do like motocross on slicks, so it helps with like having the back out going around the corners.
Well, we wish you the best luck this weekend. I'm sure you're going to be quick, so good luck.
Thank you.
Well, a group of riders there, and all of them feeling very, very quick, but we're going to keep going in the paddock at the moment. It's been raining overnight, it seems, but the paddock itself, it's heaving this time out, and we can see quite a few of the riders waiting to head out in this next session. So, of course, in this garage is Oliver Hall, getting ready to go out himself, and we're just going to dive on in. So, Oliver, how are you feeling this weekend? You've got a smile on your face.
I think this weekend's going to go well, but I'm just, the reason why I got a smile on my face is because I'm confident and you've just come up to me and surprised me.
Yeah, surprise, we put you on the spot, but how are you feeling going into this weekend?
I think this weekend's going to be a good weekend because we've done some track days here and I was doing well and I got my best lap time in the last elite practice, so I'm confident and having some good fun.
And this year on the Minimotos once again, and of course a couple of years ago you were the Rookies champion. Do you think you're going to be fighting for the championship this year at the front?
To be honest, I think I am, but it would just be hard to get past Taylor because he's really quick. But yeah, I'm going to try.
And finally, you're not doing any Metrokit runs this season on the MiniGP 50. Why is that?
The reason why is because last year when we were doing Mini and Metrokit, I was doing really well on the Metrokit, but then when I was going really well on the Metrokit, but then the Mini just went backwards.
Well, we wish you the best luck this weekend. We hope everything goes good for you guys.
Thank you.
So we're going to keep going. Some of the Pit Bike 140 class are making their way onto the circuit, but once again a packed field, and you can see to our right hand side that Sullivan's Bounce's motorcycle is just waiting in its garage, and then there's not too many riders about. Sam Gardner's on in as well, but no sign of Sam. He's been going very, very quick this weekend. And Casey O'Gorman's van, of course, Ollie O'Gorman racing this weekend, while Casey himself is at Le Mans. But some of the riders talking up here on the fence, discussing and looking at some of the riders heading in from their session. So some of the Sidecar boys just completed your first run. We spoke to you guys earlier on. What's it been like your first time on the circuit?
An eye-opener. Very different, very hard to learn your body position in, big learning curve, but great fun.
And as a passenger, what was it like hanging off the sides of that?
Hard work. I had a job to stay on a couple of times. Lost my footing, but yeah, it's a learning curve.
And did it feel quick out there, quicker than you expected?
No, I didn't think it overly quick. I mean, we weren't gunning it, but it was comfortable, I think.
And do you have anything from that first session that you know already you have some improvement to do, some places to work on?
Yeah, change the gear, change position for my foot, change a different carburetor because it was spluttering, just little tweaks. It's never going to stop being tweaked, but yeah, we'll try the next session and see what we've got to change the next one.
Well, cheers guys, it was great hearing from you. It's very interesting to hear the insight from the Sidecar passengers just off the circuit.
Nice one, thanks buddy.
Thank you mate.
Well, some more of the riders heading out on the circuit, and there's not too many people hanging about at the moment, but a lot of the young riders feeling focused, feeling ready and feeling confident for this weekend. But we're going to carry on our walk at the moment. There's not too many people hanging about, but we're just looking for some riders that we can have a quick chat to. So a lot of these guys in very, very professional awnings, and there is more people just over here in this awning. Some of the Minimoto guys. Minimoto's very, very popular this past couple of years. Hi guys, sorry just to crash in on here, but first of all, why don't you tell everyone what your name is and what class you're racing in?
My name is Logan and I race in the pros.
So that's Logan Cousins, I believe. So Logan Cousins, you've been a part of the Sarah Harris Racing School. You've got it on your levers. So what's that been like to race and help get support from this year?
I don't know.
Have they helped you much off the circuit?
Yeah.
Well, that's good to hear. So what's the first couple of rounds been like for yourself at FAB? What has the racing been like?
It's been good actually.
And what have you had much competition? Is it close racing out there?
It's a bit of competition. It's not massive though.
And this circuit here at Red Lodge, is this a track that you like?
Yeah, it's one of my favourites.
What makes it your favourite circuit on the calendar?
Just the flow.
And what's it like to overtake on these Minimotos? Because obviously it's quite a small bike, but the circuit's very, very tight.
It's okay. It's not the best to overtake, but it's okay.
Well, we wish you the best of luck for this weekend, and we hope everything goes good, and we hope that we can see you have some good battles on the circuit.
Yeah.
Hello and welcome to round 3 of the FAB-Racing Minibike British Championship. My name is Lewis Reid, and alongside me for this weekend is Adam Reid. So, Adam, how are you this morning, and how are you feeling going into your first weekend here at FAB?
I'm feeling fantastic. I'm really excited for this weekend. It looks absolutely amazing to see all the bikes out there. It's an absolute joy to see some motorsport out there. So I'm really excited to see what these guys are about, because this is my first time actually at a bikes weekend. I'm more on the for the four-wheelers. So to swap over to two wheels, I'm intrigued to see what these guys do, and especially that they're on the road to the likes of MotoGP and the Bennett's British Superbikes. It's amazing to see what grassroots bike racing is like.
Yep, great weekend, great atmosphere here this weekend. The paddock is absolutely jammed full, and you can just see some of the sponsor support in the event here at FAB-Racing, some of the riders walking about the paddock. But the final qualifying sessions are just getting underway at the moment, and I think you're going to be very, very impressed with the racing that we have here at FAB. It's fast, it's furious, and I'm sure you've caught up on some of the action from round 1 and 2 at Lyd, and I think you would have seen some of the grids here are absolutely jam-packed and they're full to the brim.
Oh yes, I've definitely seen. So we've got some massive grids, around like 20 bikes. I do think it's absolutely fantastic. We're currently watching the Extreme 200 series, so we've got Richard Holmes-Williams currently on top at this stage.
Yeah, Richard Holmes-Williams currently on top at this stage. 10 bikes are in the Extreme 200 class this weekend, but conditions this morning, well, they're not really what we were expecting. We were expecting slightly sunnier than this, but it's overcast. There's a slight bit of wind, but it's dry, and that's quite a good thing.
Yeah, we had a bit of wet running yesterday on Friday, so that didn't provide a lot of knowledge for these riders. They more want the dry conditions. Pretty much what they want on the race day. It will just bring a lot of confidence to them, and they'll get a feel of what's to come for the preparation for the qualifying for the race, and this is going to be crucial, especially as we head further into the weekend.
Yep, and this weekend we're going to have 30 races live here on the Motorsport Radio YouTube and Facebook channels, and the FAB-Racing YouTube and Facebook page. So a lot of racing to come. 10 races today, 20 races tomorrow, and still plenty of qualifying sessions coming up with just 40 seconds to go in this Extreme 200 session as Sullivan Mente hits the top with a 45.912, and once again faster this time around, a 45.830 from Sullivan Mente, so for almost 4 tenths ahead of Richard Holmes-Williams, and Sullivan Mente looking incredibly strong this weekend.
So these guys are pretty much getting their final runs in here. I'm pretty sure the fuels will be pretty much all burnt down, and the tyres will be up to their optimal temperature. We just follow Sullivan making his way through the next corner, and he'll really have to tighten the bike up.
Yeah, you can just see there leaning into the corner, through the flip-flop he goes, and he powers it out through. Sullivan will be on track next week at Donington Park for the British Talent Cup race, as many of these riders are. At one point we had 60% of the British Talent Cup grid made up of FAB-Racing graduates, so great statistic as Sullivan Mente crosses the line and goes even faster once again, a 45.7 as he comes over the checker flag. He extends his pole position lead and pops little wheelie for us in celebration. So Sullivan Mente looking incredibly strong this weekend, and I think as the day progresses, conditions at the circuit are only going to brighten up and get better.
We've definitely seen a little bit of I think there will be a bit of sun at some point, but that will be more later on, around about 3 or 4 o'clock ish, as we see a couple of our riders just doing a few launches just to get their starts. They're going to need to do that, especially with the leaders. They're going to be quite close going into turn 1, do you think? It's quite a narrow corner. You've got that little apex of turn 1, and then you've got to go straight through into turn 2.
Yeah, the circuit is tight, it's twisty, and it's a mixed bag when it comes to the riders' preferences, if they like it or not. But now they're coming back into the pit lane, and this, as you mentioned, the circuit is very tight. Even the first corner, it's super tight for a turn 1, and it's very bumpy on the racing line. You can see actually on the camera there just the slight bumps that are on the straights, but Now we're just waiting for the final couple riders to make their way into the pit lane before we can get started with yet another qualifying session. At the moment, there's around 5 qualifying sessions left, including the big one, the LS2 Helmets Mini GP 70 British Championship, which we'll be bringing to you later on, as that's our last qualifying session of the day. But right now, Moto team making their way onto the track.
So, of course, making their way through the first couple of corners, like we explained, and then into this really difficult section through 180. You really have to get it turned in, don't you?
Yeah, you really do. You have to get the bike length over. But right now, these riders on slick tyres, these Dunlop Moto Free slicks, they have quite a lot of building to do anyway, let's just say, on the temperature, as it's still a bit of wind and the track isn't really up to optimal temperatures. These guys have just came off their lunch break, so also they have to get their minds up to speed once again.
Yeah, so definitely that lunch break will cause they'll fall out of their rhythm, but they'll once again gain it back as they move into qualifying 2. We've currently got our first lap times coming in. They make their way through into turn 1. You did a little bit of the pit entry. I thought that was quite interesting. I've been trying to notice if these riders will use that pit entry, and a few have, to just try and get the most out of turn number 1. And then, of course, there was a bit of a divide in the surface of turn 2 that I noticed, so they'll probably use the outside to get it cut back in.
Yep, turn 1 and on the pit exit as well. It's not obviously going to have as much grip for these riders, so they've got to be a bit careful on the outside of the circuit. But coming through your picture, you heard from some of the riders earlier on in the broadcast. We went a walk around the paddock, interviewed some riders, spoke to some riders off air as well, just to find out their thoughts heading into this weekend. And the overwhelming feeling is that everyone is excited for this event. They've waited quite a long time. It's been over a month since round 1 and 2.
Definitely, I've been quite excited for this, because this is my first actual real life commentary gig, which is fantastic. I'm really proud to be joining you, and to have a championship that's a feeder series to the top level and really produce some fantastic talents throughout the years is really special to be here.
Yeah, it really is, and there's been some great riders that have came through the FAB-Racing systems, such as the likes of Scott Reddin, Danny Kent, Scott Ogden, Josh Watley, Rory Skinner, Bradley Reid, you name it, they came through Fab usually if they're British. So riders doing a great job here, and if you're joining us, you've joined us at the perfect time, because racing hasn't started just yet. We're covering the final couple of qualifying sessions before racing gets underway today. So drop a comment down below and let us know who you're supporting, who you're watching for, and what race you're looking forward to later on. And of course, give us a like, give us a share, and spread the word that FAB-Racing is back for round 3 here at the Red Lodge circuit. It's great to be here. It's a great venue, and the facilities here are great at the circuit.
Oh yeah, they've been absolutely brilliant. I've really enjoyed my time, even though we've spent about a day and a half here. Yeah, it's been brilliant watching these guys do their laps and just trying to suss out really what's going on with the circuit, of course, because I've never been to Red Lodge myself. I'm more from the south of the country, so I've had to travel quite a bit up here. But also a brand new motorsport to me on the 2 wheels. So we now watch one of the riders making their way through turn 2, and then of course they'll tighten it up through 3.
Yep, so that is the Keats Racing machine. You'll be seeing them later on as well in the sidecar race. The mini F1 sidecars are back again this round. Such a tricky circuit for the sidecar guys. Actually, all of these riders, they don't really get a rest around this circuit. This straight, of course, back here, it's a slight rest for the riders, but then you're hard on the brakes into the long left-hander at the back section of the circuit. You can just see the speed difference there from our provisional pole sitters, Team SFC Racing, and the Keats machine. You can just see the difference between the 2 riders there, but plenty of riders out in this field.
Yeah, these guys, they're 1.2 seconds ahead of our team's CFC Racing, but I'm sure these guys, again, like I said, they'll be building their confidence. They'll be trying to suss out like where they can improve, and I'm sure they would have gone over this during the morning.
Yep, they've of course already had one practice and one qualifying, one earlier on today. And they also, some of these riders, if they've managed to get time off work anyway, have had Friday practice, because quite a lot of these Moto team riders are adults and some of them just can't get the time off. But we await to see what SFC Racing can do. Of course, Will Howarth is back this round. He wasn't at round 1. And just you wait and see until we get to the races to see how fast he is going to be. But we await for the session. 1 minute and 50 seconds remain. SFC Racing is at the top by 1.2 seconds. And right now it looks like someone's going to have to take a magical lap out the bag to be able to catch up to them.
Definitely, they've been really showing their strong points, as you can see, making their way, using that pit entry, like I said. And you can see that they're almost like, it felt like they're just lapping them. But I'm sure we'll see once the fuel burns, once the tyres are up to temperature, then I'm sure we could see a lap maybe matching that, but it will take quite a lot to it will have to be all guns blazing for the rider that does it.
Yeah, it's going to be all guns blazing. Right now SFC is all guns blazing as they catch up to a couple more back markers, but there's a yellow flag out on circuit at the moment, and that is a rider down. So I believe that is the Team Martin team. So we're speaking to them actually earlier on in the paddock. They were looking forward to this weekend. And yeah, slight tip off for them in qualifying, but everyone looks all right. They should hopefully be able to get that bike restarted.
Yeah, I was going to say, I don't think he can get that restarted. He's just trying to move that out of the way. Yeah, I think that is Team Martin done. So that's really unfortunate for the number 135. We just zoom out there and focus on our final corner. And we're down to about 30 seconds left in the session. Team CFC still up on top with the number 1 of TACME Racing, with Will Howarth in P3 and the number 96.
Yep, so right now, this is your pole position, man. 18 seconds to go in this qualifying session. Provisional pole will be SFC Racing's, but the lead right now, 1.6 seconds over Team Acne Racing and Will Howarth in third. Team Pinky in the Brain in fourth position at the moment in qualifying, with Team Italia in fifth. So a great qualifying so far. The time is ticking down, and actually, Team SFC Racing will get another lap at this. The checker flag is just out now, and Dave Glover and Ernie and the Badger are the first riders to take the checker flag. So one more lap for the provisional pole sitter. So what can he do?
As you see there, the checker flag is out, and I think all the riders, will be just trying to make their way around the last lap, see if they can do any more improvements. We just follow our provisional leader through that little tight section of the S's and down the Simpson Straight. And then you've got to keep it to the right-hand side before bleeding off the throttle onto the brakes and through the final chicane. Back onto the throttle, heading down the straight and across the line. It will be Team CFC Racing that will take pole position here at round 3 of Red Lodge on the Moto team class.
Yep, so SFC is on pole position in the open team class, and Team Pinky in the Brain in fourth position at the moment is your pole position men in the standard class. But the riders now coming back into pit lane, the marshals waving the yellow flag for them. But a great qualifying from SFC Racing on pole position, and yeah, it's great to see in the Moto team class.
Yeah, brilliant. Also, you just noticed that Will Howarth went up to second place with a 51.0, but that with narrowing that gap down to 1.1, but it still wasn't enough, unfortunately. But he will line up on the second row, I believe, as we just keep an eye here on the grid.
So now we await for the next qualifying session to come out onto the circuit. It's going to be the MiniGP 50 class that make their way out. It's a massive grid. As you'll see the riders leaving the holding area, you'll just see the amount of riders. It was over 20 riders last round at the light kart circuit. A lot of different abilities in this class and a lot of great racing for them. So Archie O'Brien, what can he do? Can he pick up more race wins, and can Luke Fitchett do his usual and be an incredible defender?
Yeah, these bikes look absolutely amazing. They're with their tails just coming out of the back of the riders. So make their way now around the circuit. Again, this is going to be another confidence builder through the early part of the session. We've got 7 minutes with this session. We just followed one of the riders making their way into the final chicane. That's a really difficult corner. So I've noticed on a track board that I did yesterday, the curbs are quite lifted, so you really don't want to be touching them, or the bike will go absolutely all over the place. I'm pretty sure they'll tip as well.
Yeah, high curbs at a lot of these tracks that we go to this year. Wilton Mill, very, very high for these riders as well. So it's only certain corners where they're going to take liberties, but of course you're not going to be wanting out on the curbs too much, otherwise it usually means something's went wrong or you've been pushed out there. So yeah, Archie O'Brien, he's going to be wanting to try and get a good lap in here, but Frankie Watson putting in a good early pace in second position, 3 seconds away from Archie O'Brien in first place. Of course, Archie O'Brien having a great time. Archie O'Brien, Marco Holt are really the ones to look out for. Luke Fitchett as well as Austin Johnson comes into third position, but right now it's just the opening lap, so just building into it as Archie O'Brien finds his way past Chloe Gleason. So a massive grid. Currently 20 riders out on the circuit. It's about 20 past 2 here, and the track is just going to keep getting warmer and warmer as the day progresses.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure. I'm not entirely sure, but there might be a little bit of sun coming out. Can't quite see from our commentary position, but we just followed there Archie O'Brien in his Spider-Man helmet, which I find very intriguing. Probably his favourite superhero, do you think?
Yeah, I would say something like that. Archie O'Brien, he's used it for quite a while now, but Mark Holt as well is known for using the Minion helmet, but sadly he's changed away from that, and Mark Holt and Archie O'Brien have almost identical levers now, so yeah, just the helmets are different for them. But right now at the top, 47.970 for Archie O'Brien on the number 91 machine, half a second clear of Wilson Dilts, who actually just pops into the second position, 1/10 away from the pole position man. So pushing Luke Fitchett into third place. So Luke Fitchett, what can he do? He's got a bit of traffic to get through at the moment. Harley Baker makes his way into 9th place. 4 minutes remain in this qualifying 2 session. Of course, the qualifying times will be combined here at FAB-Racing, and the combined qualifying times will be your starting position for all 3 races this weekend.
So yeah, absolutely. If we have a look at the times here, the top 4 separated by less than 0.6 of a second. So it's really quite close. You can really tell that some of the riders here are really on the limit, and some are still trying to build that bit of confidence, still trying to suss out the circuit, where to get their turn and where to get their braking. Should they hold the throttle here, or should they do a bit of braking, especially through turn 1? Because I've noted there's been some that brake, and there's some that just hold gear, which is quite interesting in terms of riding style as well. So that's quite intriguing.
Yeah, but it's all about wherever they decide to shift it back, shift it down the gear, try to get a little bit of engine braking. But of course, these 2 strokes, not a lot of engine braking for them in general, to be honest. So what can Luke Fitchett do? Can he get pole position? Currently, Luke Fitchett all the way down in 4th place. We usually see him slightly higher in the podium places, but right now this is just qualifying. Can he get on pole with this lap time? We're going to have to wait and see. He comes around the final corner, he powers out through, he's in the power band, head tucked under the screen, and Luke Fitchett on pole position, 47.942 at the moment, 28 thousandths of a second ahead of Archie O'Brien. So Luke Fitchett, an incredible lap there from him as we're still in the early stages of this qualifying.
Yeah, that was an absolutely fantastic lap, watching the number 7 just float through these corners and riding absolutely wonderfully. But yeah, it's now down to 2 minutes and 20 seconds left on the clock. Luke Fitchett still on pole position, provisional pole position at the moment. Archie O'Brien in second place. Marco Holt has just gone up to P3 in the number 58 bike with Wilson Dilks and Byron Johnson, the top 5 there. So the current fastest time is Luke Fitchett. Oh no, he's now gone up to Wilson Dilks here with a 47.5, 10th and a half over Luke Fitchett. So looks like Wilson Dilks has built some confidence in that bike, hasn't he?
Yeah, Wilson Doubt's going good this season, coming back to FAB-Racing at the end of last year. Actually, at this round, and incredibly fast in the MotoGP 70 class. But of course, this is the 50s. He's having a go at this as well. And what can he do? There is Austin Johnson coming for your picture, powering it out through. 2 Johnson brothers this weekend, and a lot of new riders. There is Sam Gardner getting through on Ollie O'Gorman. So Sam Gardner, he's been very quick. But there's Marco Holt, actually, just went fastest. So 47.070 there from Marco Holt as he goes fastest of the timesheets. And Luke Fitchett all the way down in 3rd place. Half a second is the gap between Holt and Delt. So a massive gap that he's got there as we tick into the final minute of this qualifying 2 session.
It's been absolutely fantastic watching these their riders go right at it during these 7 minutes. We still got 45 seconds left to go on the clock. The championship leader currently at the top of the standings here with a 47.0, half a second ahead of Wilson Dilts. We'll just go through the top 5 quickly. So after Holt and Dilts, we've got Fitcher ahead of O'Brien as he goes up to 2nd place there, and Frankie Watson completing the top 5 there.
Yep, so now we see Matthew Thomas coming into the back section of the circuit at the moment as Wilson Doubts goes down to 3rd. But Matthew Thomas, what can he do? He's slowly but steadily gaining confidence on the MotoGP machine. A lot of these riders making the step up from the Minimoto class, or even racing both of them. So a real stepping stone onto geared and clutch motorcycles. So a big step for these guys. But now as Matthew Thomas comes through the final corner, it's Sam Gardner who comes over the line, and he improves into 5th position. So can Matthew Thomas improve? We await to see as he stays in 9th. But Marco Holt over the line there, didn't improve in that final lap. It looked like it went away from him at the end, but he's still in pole position. He will not mind. 0.182 of a second separates himself from Archie O'Brien, as now Luke Fitchett jumps into 2nd position. So Luke Fitchett jumping into 2nd, Archie O'Brien in 3rd, and Wilson Delps demoted to 4th. So Sam Gardner in 5th position inside that top 5 as he enters his first full season on the MotoGP motorcycle. That's very impressive. But times in this class so close.
Yeah, as we can, if we have a look at the differential here, less than half a second separating the top 4. That's honestly, I'm impressed by that. That is something else. So those 4, I'm pretty sure, are going to go right at it during our race 1 later on.
Yep, so those guys will head back into the paddock and they'll be out later on for their race of the day. But some of these riders as well will be riding in the LS2 helmets MiniGP 70 class as well. So plenty of track time for them this weekend as we await for the riders to come back into the pit lane before we can get underway with our next qualifying 2 session, which will be the Mini F1 sidecars.
So we've got the sidecar. We've talked to a couple of them earlier on in the broadcast. Did you find those interesting? You've commentated over them for a while now.
Yeah, the sidecar class are very interesting, especially the mechanical side of things, to speak about what engines they like to use, what parts they like to use, as majority of them, if not all of them, are custom built in someone's garage usually. It's not something you can just go out to the shops and buy, and that's why whenever you look at them, everyone's took a slightly different approach, and same for the riding styles, everyone's doing a slightly different approach to that. So there's Vince Bailey and Amy Tolbruck coming into the 2nd corner, into Senna, and then they'll power it out through, and they will not use the infield circuit. They'll head straight to the back section and straight down the back straight. So they miss out the real tight part of the circuit.
Yeah, is there a good reason for them to use it? Because it looks really tight. I'm pretty sure it'll be a little bit dangerous to see tyre wall to helmet. I think that'll be a little bit too extreme, maybe. Ooh. We see one of the number 26, I believe that is, heading through down towards turn 1. You can just see pulling the bike towards into the first 2 corners, and then probably straighten it up before moving to the right-hand side, leaning over and going down the straight run.
Yep, so right now McWilliams at the top. 3 seconds is the gap between himself and Vince Bailey and Amy Tolbruck. We're waiting for the green streets to head out in circuit, as they're not out just yet. But McWilliams looking incredibly strong on the 26 machine. They power it through the final sector of the circuit, and then they'll head down to the final corner and power it on to the start-finish straight, and it's a great lap this from them. We await to see it. Looks quick, and it's a 37.5, 7.6 seconds quicker than Vince Bailey and Amy Tolbruck at the moment, but they've not made their second lap yet, so I would expect them to improve, and I would expect the Green Streets, which have just headed out on track, to be very quick as well. And there they are there at the number 90 machine.
So Mick Williams, I've heard he's pretty good from his lid round, and I'm pretty sure he's done some sidecars in the past, correct me if I'm wrong.
Yeah, Mick Williams, probably the most dominant rider in history in the Mini F1 sidecar class. They've won countless amount of race wins. They've won a countless amount of titles. I think they hold a lap record at pretty much every single circuit that we go to. But there is the Green Streets now coming to set their first proper lap time in this session, because currently 7.8 seconds away from the McWilliams, and we do expect them to be much closer than that, but they had some traffic there. But some new sidecars out this weekend. Iona Glover makes her return to Mini F1 sidecar racing. It's great to see her back as we come over the start finish line now. What can the Green Streets do? They go second position, 3 seconds away from Mick Williams. So Jason and Leo Greenstreet, a great ride from them, and great teamwork as well on the much more modern approach to the Mini F1 sidecar.
Yeah, so I'm guessing that these sidecars, that both pairings have different styles in terms of how you lean over or lean into a corner. As you see there, leaning into the corner, leaning right over, and then we switch to one of them pulling over to that left-hand side. So there's different styles to this, would you say? Or
yeah, it's the same as what there is in normal motorcycle racing. Different styles, different approaches to everything. Some riders still like to use some of their knee and plant it to the ground, while others like to rely on putting their bottom out of the sidecar whenever they're going around the left-hand side. That's why you'll see knee sliders on some of the passengers' bottoms. But you can see there, Vince Bailey coming for your picture, powering it out through, and Amy Tolbruck as the passenger, very close to the ground there. And of course, coming around to this left-hander, stretching off that outfit there into the left once again, then straight over the rider that's controlling the sidecars. He just controls the clutch and controls the brake and the throttle, while the passenger does majority of the work when it comes to the turning, leaning over. As there is the Keats stopped at the side of the circuit. So John Keats stopped at the side of the track with issues.
So that's really disappointing, seeing the Keats car sidecar the side of the road. I think they're going to try and get it moving. I'm not entirely sure if that doesn't look like they're doing any success in that. They might be trying to find a space, I'm not entirely sure, but I'm sure we'll maybe pan over to something else. They're still trying to get it out of the grass, but I think they're just trying to start up the motor, if that's right.
Yeah, trying to get the motor restarted, but of course these things are two-stroke motors. It could be a million and one things. It could be something as simple as the jetting on the motorcycle, or it could be a catastrophic issue. But hopefully they'll be back out later on today for the races, because right now just 2 minutes to get that sidecar back onto the circuit and back doing laps again. Of course, the Keats came to lead for round 1 and 2, but they were struck by quite a few mechanical issues, not actually finishing a race across the whole weekend. So not what they'll be wanting at all. They missed quite a few rounds last year as well, so they'll be hoping for a better year this season. But Mark Parker and Ems comes across the line now, and they currently sit in 4th position, and then they're just 1.3 seconds away from Vince Bailey and Amy Tolbruck. So midfield battle in this sidecar class looks very close.
So we are currently now watching the 127 of John Hosker going into 5th place, a 46.5, still 10.5 seconds off the pace there. But I think these guys will still be trying to, again, it's all about confidence really. And these guys are, this is such a difficult series. I've been looking at these and thinking that must be really difficult to do, especially with the trust you must have in your passenger to have this person leaning over and just pulling the sidecar to each side, and it must be insanely difficult. They're a different breed, honestly, from what I've seen.
Yep, different breed of riders, completely different from anything else here on the FAB-Racing calendar. But we've seen John Oscar having to try and slip the clutch a little bit there to try and get the revs up on his motorcycle. They're one of the two-stroke machines, so really trying to get the bike into the power band, trying to get the bike in the high rev range is so important. But there is the 75 machine. There's Adam Jarvis and Alan as passengers. So these riders, one of our new riders here this weekend, you can just see the difference in speed between Mark Parker and Ems and that new outfit of Adam Jarvis. You can just see a completely different straight line speed and corner speed between the two.
Yeah, I'm not sure if there's any damage at the front, because I've seen that the orange bit of the front just flapping away. Well, not massively, but you just see it there. I think that's something maybe a bit too slow. I'm not entirely sure. What do you think's going on?
Yeah, I think right now they're still just trying to get into it, trying to learn the fairing. Maybe one of the brackets isn't tightened enough. Maybe it's not even there anymore. But yeah, the fairing flapping about ever so slightly in the wind. But the checker flag is out now, and Mick Williams will set their final lap of the session. Currently, they're at the top of a 36.941 as Jason and Leo Greenstreet in second, just 1.1 seconds behind them in second place. They've already came over the line though, but we're waiting for that 26, that Red Bull outfit of Mick Williams to cross the line, as there's the 75 machine coming over the line with Iona Glover. No improvement there from them, but we await. There is the 11 machine, Jamie Alexandra, and the number 90, the Jason Leo Greenstreet, doing another lap, it seems, already come over the checker flag, so that lap will not count for them, but more track time I guess in their case. And yeah, that's their session done. Final couple of laps coming in now as the riders come into the pit lane. So a great qualifying session there, as we already see the next lot of riders queuing up in the holding area. So hello and welcome if you're just joining us. Well, you've not missed any racing just yet, so don't worry about that. You've missed a couple of qualifying sessions. Our qualifying twos are just coming to an end. Currently waiting to get out of the holding area is the Pit Bike 140 qualifier 2, and you can just see some of the past riders, Taylor Lawrence in that Paul Budweiser top, giving them some motivation. But we've just finished the sidecar qualifying 2. Keats had a slight mechanical issue. Now they're pushing the bike off the circuit and pushing the bike back into the paddock to try and get repaired. But just 2 qualifying sessions remain before we get into today's race ones.
So yeah, of course, we've got the pit bikes now just about to go out. We're just going to wheel that number 666 sidecar away, so they should be done there. We're just waiting now for, you can see everyone there on the demo grid, very, very intrigued to get going. I saw someone on the side, very, very animated. So there we go. Someone pop in a wheelie. I'm very excited to see what these pit bikes are like. They're quite loud, I've heard. So I'm really excited to see what these guys are all about. I've also got to think about moving moving the divide in the circuit, so we have to put it back to the twisty section of the corner of the circuit, and then of course we're here now, as you hear from the engines, the pit bikes have been released and qualifying 2 will be getting underway for the pit bikes.
Yep, they'll be heading now on the circuit for their qualifying to their last session before they go racing this weekend. A massive grid in the Pit Bike 140 machines. Currently 20 riders out on circuit, but I'm sure there'll be even more that make the start for the race. But there is the likes of Lucas Brownfall and Chris Wells at the moment, so a lot of top riders in this class. A lot of top racing as well. They're bashing handlebars, they're pushing each other to the edge of the track, and sometimes a little bit more, but that's how it works in the Pit Bike 140s. They have a laugh on and off the circuit and get down to things when it's the last lap time, when things get serious. These guys know how to race.
Oh, I'm really looking forward. You really hyped me up for this one. I've really been looking forward to it, especially like I've heard some great things about this series. Don't get me wrong, these things are great, but I think you won't. It'll be best once you're here at the circuit and experience it for yourself. And hopefully myself and Lewis can bring you the best commentary as possible, along with the amazing sounds of the Pit Bike 140 class. We watch the number 89 heading round into this tightening section of the circuit and through the S's and down the Simpson Straight, and then we follow another battle going on through the last corner of Paddock Bend.
So now over the start-finish line, 5 minutes to go in this qualifying session. These guys only getting around 7 or 8 minutes in their qualifying too, so not a lot of time to get laps in, but they'll get on with it, and these guys know how to get onto the pace very, very quick. Already following begins, and they're already trying to learn before they get into the races. But these pit bike machines, they're probably the loudest bikes that we have here at FAB. They're usually the biggest grid that we have here at FAB, and they usually provide some of the best racing of the weekend. So a great class to look out for. A lot of different skill abilities, so sometimes back markers do come into play, but that's all part of the fun. Of course, here at FAB-Racing we use no blue flags whenever a back marker is getting lapped, meaning that it is up to the riders that are doing the lapping to get past safely and carefully. So now coming over the line, it's Lucas Brown who is in provisional pole on the number 7 machine, 1/10 of a second. He leads from Chris Wells. Reese Peacock on the 29 is in 3rd, and Liam Wood, Zach Tureen and Sean Whittaker is in 4th, 5th and 6th. So a great qualifying session so far. Can Cameron Sewell get a second pole position this year? Cameron Sewell been doing very, very well. A surprise pole position for many in the paddock, but Cameron Sewell in 5th place at the moment on the number 200, just improved on his lap time, but no change in position for him just yet. But at the front, Lucas Brown allowing Chris Wells free back to over, and now he wants to do some following. So mind games already playing part in this second qualifying session for these guys.
Yeah, these are already great. If we see the number 62 heading through the first corner, you talk about mind games, which I find really interesting. The fact that they're playing it at this grassroots level is absolutely amazing. They're already preparing for the future, and when they get into the professional stages and the big circuits like we talk about, Silverstone, Donington, Alton Park, all these grand circuits, you're playing mind games for a big championship. I love it already. They're already doing it at such a young level, and even with we've got a mix of adults and some kids as well. It's absolutely incredible to watch.
Yep, so Chris Wells now at the top of a 47.833 last time around as Lucas Brown. This is a good lap for him, I'll say that much, but he's been held up in that final set, so he's not managed to create anything of it. But now the riders coming across the line. Shannon King makes her way into 14th position on the 71 machine. Shannon King moving up from the senior Minimoto class this year as she tries to progress to a bigger bike before she gets on to something bigger on bigger circuits later on in her career. But yellow flags are out at this track, so I don't think there'll be too much improvement this time around as Zach Tureen drops down to 6th place at the moment. So Zach Tureen's been going well. There is Zach Tureen actually at the side of the circuit with some kind of mechanical issue.
Yeah, it just seemed like the bike's completely stopped. He's on the side of the circuit. I'm pretty sure that looks like the entry to the pit lane. So I think he's just trying to get it going. And there we go, just following it round. So that looks like the final corner. So he looks like we've rejoined. Yeah, there you go. That looks like the curve on the exit of Paddock Bend.
The bike stopped on him again at the side of the track. He managed to get going for a brief second, but it's died to him again. So maybe a carburetor issue there from Zach Tureen. But now the riders head their way through this back section of the circuit. At the end of the back straight, it's such a quick section of the track. Before we go into the S's, the 142 machine getting out of the way is some of the front runners in this class. But there is Cameron Sewell. There was our pole position man last time out, still in 5th place at the moment. But a lot of these guys looking incredibly strong. A lot of these guys looking so confident on these pit bike machines. They just throw it about into the corner from the left to the right and trusting everything on these hot, sticky, slick tyres as Lucas Brown trusts his tyres and makes his way into pole position by 0.6 of a second over Chris Wells. So the number 7 of Lucas Brown in pole position. Incredible lap there from him, and still 59 seconds left in this qualifying 2 session.
So brilliant from Lucas Brown. Of course, like you said, with that on a plain sheet of paper, that lap looks really good. We didn't get to see it on the coverage, but I bet that was a really good lap. But you must have felt really confident in that lap. 40 seconds left to go in this session, and it's currently Lucas Brown ahead of the championship leader Chris Wells. Reese Peacock in P3 ahead of Liam Woods and Cameron Sewell. So that is your top 5, and we watch 2 of the bikes making their way down into turn 1, and I believe that is who that.
Yeah, Lucas Brown there, coming for your picture, coming through the first section of the circuit, getting his way through some traffic on what will be his final qualifying lap of the session. Currently in pole position, and can he improve? A 47.216 was his best lap time of the session. Number 2 makes his way through the long left-hander. Then we get into the S's, and then he'll power out through as he heads home towards the line where the checker flag will be waiting for him this time around. Shannon King is just in front of him on the 71 machine. Will she hold him up any on this final sector of the circuit? He powers out through, uses all the curb and then some, and now comes over the line, and a 47.9 that time around. So not what he would want for that final lap, but still incredibly fast, consistently in that 47 bracket, which seems to be the race pace for the Pit Bike 140 class.
Yeah, so a brilliant lap there, but it will be Lucas Brown on top of the standings here, ahead of Chris Wells and Reese Peacock. So not many improvements there on the last last minute of this session. So there you go, a couple of riders left to cross the line, that being James Ratcliffe in the number 40 and Bailey Lawrence, who finishes in P12 in the number 9. So there you go. There is your. Should we have a round up then? Lucas Brown on top in the number 7, ahead of Chris Wells and Reese Peacock. Liam Wood and Cameron Sewell, P4 and 5. Sean Whittaker in 6th, ahead of Darren Anderson and Zach Torain with Keaton Payne. Josh Bissonnetti in P10.
Yep, so great qualifying session there. The riders make their way into the pits before we await for this next class to come out, and the next class that will be out will be the LS2 helmets MotoGP 70 British Championship, but still about a minute probably until they can be released from the holding area as the Pit Bike 140 class make their way back into the paddock, back into the pit lane to have a little chill before their race later on today. This is the last qualifying session of the day, the last qualifying session of the weekend. So these guys are getting their bikes warmed up. These motorcycles don't like to be sitting revving for too long without getting too much air into their air intake, but Archie O'Brien showing up as well now and making his way on to the circuit. So a great couple of rounds for Archie O'Brien so far. Same with Luke Fritchett. It's been close battles, it's been competitive battles for these guys. So now Harry Payne as well, waiting to get out for this session. Final checks are being done as now they make their way back onto the track today. They were out earlier this morning before the lunch break, and now they make their way the LS2 helmets MotoGP 70 British Championship. It's their qualifying too. It's their time to shine. Who's going to get pole position? Well, we're only going to have to wait 7 minutes to find out. Some of the Danny Webb GP camp riders are in this class, are competing this weekend, and are looking very, very competitive and strong so far. So far we will wait, as there's been no laps on the board just yet, but these riders are so quick, and that is why they're in the premier class here at FAB-Racing.
Yeah, this MotoGP 70 class looks really cool. I love a lot of the designs that I've noticed, especially the number 11 of Harry Payne. So I've been quite intrigued with his design. A lot of these as we fly through down the main straight heading towards turn 1. And what do you think of the liveries? Because I've been there's quite some eye-catching ones out there.
Yep, it's a lot. It's quite easy to notice these guys out on the circuit. A lot of different liveries for them, as there is Ollie Sims. Quite easy to spot as well. Green, red and white for him, as Wilson Dux goes slightly wide there on the exit. It looks like he just was too high of a gear and wasn't in the power band, but a slight battle almost forming here in qualifying. A lot of these guys wanting the toe, wanting that slipstream down these short straights, and these guys will do anything just to follow. As you see there, Luke Fitchett running slightly wide there on the exit, and now lets Ollie Sims through. So he doesn't want Ollie Sims watching him there in qualifying, and now he has probably about half a second in front of him that he can gain on and chase during this first flying lap, as Archie O'Brien goes top in this session, a 46.2. So already for these guys, they're faster than the pit by 140. But there is Luke Fitchett, the number 7, making his way through the infield section of the circuit, through the 180 degrees hairpin, and then they'll flick it to the left and power it down the straight run down to the long left-hander, where it looks like Luke Fitchett has gained very, very quickly there to Ollie Sims. A late apex low time now, he's been held up, so it wasn't enough of a gap that Luke Fitchett left himself as they come through the S's. He's going to have to make a pass, or he's just going to have to back out of it and try to find more room, because that clearly shows that he's quicker, essentially at that back section of the circuit compared to Ollie Sims. But now coming over the line, Luke Fitchett, 5th position now for Luke Fitchett, so held up in that final sector. Didn't help him there at all.
Yeah, not at all. We've got an incident at the moment.
Wilson dealt some issues.
So it looks like Wilson Dilks is down. Not sure if that's mechanical failure. I think he's just gone down. So it looks like the number 85 will now get back on its way. Just have to get that motor started. Is that motor started up? I'm just asking myself. But we rejoin the action back with Archie O'Brien making his way now into the last corner. Oh, we got an accident here, and I think that's
Austin Johnson.
Austin Johnson is down. He's currently sitting in P3. Oh, that's a bit of wheel spin there on the back wheel, so he's just trying to get that recovered, and hopefully he'll be all right. Just trying to move it up to the centre, and I think that
the bike's still in gear at the moment, so he's just trying to find neutral, which sometimes is half the battle after you've had the incident, is getting the bike in neutral. And
I think that the trying to, let's see a couple of problems. I think that the rear looks locked there. No, there you go, he's got it going, and I think the chassis is quite a little bit broken. I thought it would move in a little bit, so just trying to get that underway. A bit of grass there as well. We switch back to the current pole sitter, Archie O'Brien, making his way down towards turn number 1 there, onto the brakes, and then carrying a little bit of a throttle there to power his way into turn 2, tying the bike up for making his way through the next couple of corners, and then into 180, get the car, the bike, slowed down and through in towards the Warren. Get the bike once again, turn in, and then heading down the longest straight on the circuit onto the brakes now, and get the bike out wide a little bit, heading towards the centre before turning it back in.
So now we await to see yellow flags wear out in that sector there, so it's going to be interesting to see if he can improve on anything there. So Archie O'Brien, final sector, he powers out through the number 91, he leads by 6/10 of a second in his qualifying session, now 7/10 of a second, the 45.559 from Archie O'Brien's Spider-Man helmet is doing superhero lap times, 7/10 ahead of Luke Fitchett at the moment, who just slots into second place ahead of Marco Holt. There is Marco Holt, a new helmet for him this year on the 58 machine. So Marco Holt just 7/10 away from pole position, 2/10 away from Luke Fitchett. So it's heating up at the front, and it looks like it was his back sector where Austin Johnson had his slight crash, and there is some of the marshals making their way off the track after helping Austin Johnson. So slightly lost the front going into there, and just some slightly broken fairings, it looks like. So not too much damage there from him, not too much worry, I wouldn't think, for the next race coming up later on today. These guys will be the final race on the programme for today's action, so a big build up to their race, and a big build up to the end of this qualifying session, which just has about a minute remaining.
Yeah, so some fantastic action going on as we continue with Marco Holt making his way through the Warren. Is it going to be a good lap time? We'll have to find out. We've now switched to the number 7 of Luke Fitchett, making his way through turn 180 degrees through the Warren with a minute to go left in this session, heading down the straight run and in towards the next sequence of corners, getting the bike turned in here, and you've seen that knee right on the floor there, so he's really having to get that leaned in and turn now towards the final chicane here, over the lifted curves, and powering it down towards the timing beam. Where is he going to put that bike? It's only P2, so I don't think there was an improvement in that one, but he's still 2.5 tenths off the current leader, Archie O'Brien. So, and then I think Blake Wilson in the number 8 just went up to P3 there.
Yep, so 9 bikes out in this qualifying session. And there is Luke Fitchett still on the circuit. He has one more lap at this, a personal best last time around to a 45.755. Can he improve on the number 7 machine? Can he get that all-important pole position? He has 2 tenths to make up on Archie O'Brien on this lap. He's going to have the lap of his life around this Red Lodge circuit. The number 7 going for pole. Can he catch up to the number 91? He powers it out through. He heads to the line. The checker flag is waiting, and no, he cannot. But it was a 45.723, a personal best. So constantly improving, 2 tenths of a second separating the pole position man to second place. And there is Austin Johnson remounted on his bike after managing to get it restarted. So good end to that qualifying session.
Yeah, so brilliant for our 9 riders out there. Archie O'Brien putting it on top of the leaderboard there, ahead of Luke Fitcher, James Wilson, Blake Wilson, and Marco Holt. Bill Harris there in 5th, ahead of Harry Payne in the number 11. Ollie Sims in the number 73, currently in 7th, with Austin Johnson and Wilson Dilt. They'll be rounding out our riders for the MK Mini GP 70 class.
Yep, a great qualifying session there. Wilson Dilts will start in our final position there. So a good qualifying session actually from Harry Payne, who's getting his confidence back up from round 2. But of course, that was the Premier Class. That was the LS2 Helmets Mini GP 70 British Championship. So a great qualifying session from them. And the last qualifying session of the weekend. And now already we're getting into what is going to be the first race of the day. So hello and welcome if you're just joining us. You've not missed any racing just yet. We've been on air for around an hour now, and we've had plenty of time to show you some of the riders and plenty of time to show you the final action in these qualifying sessions. So now the build-up's over and it's all time and all talk stops now, as the talking is going to be done on the circuit.
Oh, absolutely brilliant. It's time to get racing here at Red Lodge Kart Circuit. We see our mini bikes just out there. A few banners of our wonderful sponsors out there on the circuit, and a few spectators around. Hopefully they've been enjoying the action as much as we have here in our commentary position. And what do you think about the first race of the weekend, really?
Yeah, the first race of the weekend, a big build-up for these guys. It will be the AC40 Pro class who'll be heading out, and these are, the intermediate class of the Minimoto racing. It's a big class for these guys. A lot of riders making their move from the rookie class. A lot of these riders, they've only been racing for a couple of years, so certainly pre-race nerves, they'll go nowhere, and they never will go anywhere, but it's just finding a way for these riders to deal with it. So it's really at this moment where revs will build pretty soon as we await for them on the grid, and tension will certainly be rising, and nerves will certainly be rising inside of them. Still young riders, still young minds, and still with a lot to learn. So every single race, it's a learning experience for these guys. I think that's probably the best thing to see, is seeing these riders develop throughout the seasons.
Yeah, it will be. It's great experience, like feeling all this adrenaline and all these feelings that you normally get for any rider during a weekend like this. So it's going to be quite crucial, making sure you're confident on that circuit, making sure you're happy with your preparation, everything you've done throughout Friday, throughout this morning and afternoon here on Saturday. This will all be put into the final 3 events of your class, which is the races, and I'm really excited to get into the main racing action. I can't wait to see some handlebar to handlebar action on these 2 wheels.
Yep, so Noah Gilroy's bike in the paddock at the moment. No one surrounded it, no one around. Pretty much a ghost town there, probably inside their van or the caravan, having a little discussion about their qualifying session, have a little discussion about what's next, what's the plan for the race, what changes he wants done on the motorcycle. And it's really something that you start learning at a young age, trying to learn what the suspension does, what the bikes do, what the throttle does, what grabbing the brake does to your motorcycle, what slowly but gradually pressing your brake does. It's really just try and learn these riders the skill sets that they're going to need in 10, 15 years time when they're in their professional career, because of course these are the class of tomorrow. These are the riders of tomorrow for the UK. You're watching it here first on the Motorsport Radio Facebook and YouTube channel, and the FAB-Racing Facebook and YouTube channel. It's the first day of running here at round 3 here at Red Lodge for the FAB-Racing Minibike British Championship. We've had 2 rounds so far this year. It was a double header round, and wow, it was jam-packed with action. There was a lot of races, 60 races in one long weekend.
Oh, that must have been absolute hectic action. You must be running around like everywhere. I can imagine, because I was here yesterday doing all the setup stuff, was looking at all the shakedowns and the practices. So I can't imagine what the round 1 and 2 was like there, especially down at Lid.
Yep, hectic for all the riders, and a completely different circuit to what we have here at Red Lodge. Lid, especially for these bigger bikes, it's not too technical. There's some chicanes, and majority of it is just fast and flowing for these riders. While, for example, we go to the likes of Red Lodge here, and it's tight, it's twisty. Of course, the Minimotos though at Lid, if you watched our coverage, if not, you can watch it back both on television now and on the YouTube channels, as I said earlier. You can watch it back, and you'll see that the Minimoto bikes use the infield section of the circuit, while here it's tight, it's twisty. It's pretty similar to that. So for these guys, for the Minimoto classes, not too much change, but certainly for the pit bike 140 riders in the bigger classes, it's going to be a lot for them to cram in. It's going to be tight, it's going to be close, and I'm sure we're going to see some great racing.
I'm really, like I said, there we go. They all get released out onto the grid, so I'm sure they will be finding their grid slots. We all see, of course, making their way into their provisional slots. And hopefully we'll be getting a rundown of the grid, which will be very much useful to us. But yeah, what do you think will happen during this first race of the weekend, really?
Yeah, we're going to have to wait and find out. Taylor Tomlinson, though, will be starting in pole position for this race 1. And he's looking very, very strong. And alongside him on pole position will be Sam Gardner. And Sam Gardner starting on pole position, starting in second position on that 56 plate. Logan Cousins begins the race in the second row of the grid in third place, with Nicholas Dunwoody alongside him. Josh Perkins lines up in 5th place on the number 30 machine, with Preston Baker, Oliver Hall and Liam Lindquist in 6th, 7th and 8th. Rex Austin starts the race from 9th on the 991 machine, with Tyler Hartley alongside him, so the number 10 in 10th place for Tyler Hartley. Sebastian Gosowski further down the order than what we would expect him to be, 11th position. He will start in for this race with Archie Hooper alongside him, as Seth Hayward starts in 13th, with Bradley Curtis rounding off our 14 bike grid for race 1 after having a slight crash in qualifying. So these guys will make their way to the grid to start race 1. Adam, what are you thinking right now?
Oh, I'm absolutely looking forward to this. I'm because of course this is pretty much my first bike race I've watched. So and it's these little kids just about to just trying to make their way through the ranks of MotoGP and Bennett British Superbikes, and they're doing it at such a young level on these little kart circuits.
Yep, so we'll wait there to see what's going on. Oliver Hall, his bike is not lined up in the position that he wants it to be in the moment. Some issues there with his bike. There is Daniel Hall at the side of the track trying to get whatever the issue is sorted potentially. It might just need the choke put on to try to get the thing pull started, but Oliver Hall, all he can do right now is look on. He'll be feeling stressed, as actually they're taking off the seat unit at the moment, so they're going to try and open up that engine to be able to do whatever they need to do to get this bike started, to get this bike in the race. Daniel Hall, he will be feeling very, very stressed at the moment, as Oliver Hall, he could just look on. I mean, these riders as well, they can't just sit on the grid forever, so a decision is going to be had to be made pretty soon. They can't just leave the bike sitting there outside the track, as Oliver Hall gives his dad a little hit to say, look, I think that's it, I think we have to give up now. But Daniel, no stopping him.
No, he's still going.
resilience there, but now he points to the right, and now Taylor Tomlinson gets the whole shot off the line. Logan Cousins makes his way into second position. Sam Gardner in third place on the 56 machine, but Taylor Tomlinson leads the way. Sam Gardner making his way back into second. A great start there from him. Josh Perkins in fourth place as well. Good start from him as Bradley Curtis makes his way up the order currently, but Rex Austin there coming for your picture. Sam Gardner continues to battle for that race lead. He's been looking incredibly strong in this AC40 Pro class. Can he take it to Taylor Tomlinson, last year's AC40 rookie champion? Can he do anything about it? Can he close the gap as we await to see by the end of this first lap how many positions Sebastian Gieslewski has made himself?
Brilliant start there from Taylor Tomlinson. If we make it our way in towards the final corner, he's just behind. I think that's Sam Gardner just in behind him. They're starting to build a little bit of a gap towards the rest of the field here. They head over the starting time and towards turn number 1 there. You can see a bit of quite a big gap there, quite a sizable gap there. So they two will probably be battling it out in the next couple of laps, but they'll have to be aware not to battle too much. I'm pretty sure that's going to start to fall back into the pack, and that's not what they are going to be wanting.
Yeah, it's not what they're going to be wanting. At the line last time around, the gap between the front two and third place man Logan Cousins was 1.4 seconds. What can Logan Cousins do? Can he stretch it? Can the front two continue to stretch it? Because Sam Gardner, he's looking on it. He's the fastest lap of the race so far off the line, 3/10 away at the line from Taylor Tomlinson. As you see, Baker going a little bit slow there out of the corner, but he's managed to get it back in the power band and get it going again. Of course, Preston Baker competing in the AC40 Pro class, looking incredibly strong. Liam Lindquist just behind him as well, as Preston Baker dropped down to 6th position. Nicholas Dunwoody has managed to get past him as Bradley Curtis makes his way up to 12th place. As Sebastian Gieslewski, last year's 2nd place in the championship in the rookie class, he's still down in 9th as we have yellow flags out around the circuit at the moment. So there may have been a rider that had a little tip off there, but we await to see as now they come around the back section of the circuit. It's still Taylor Thompson who leads by 0.3 of a second.
Yeah, there again, once again, they're still pinning on that lead, but I think we're going to focus more on towards the middle of the section. I'm not entirely sure who that is. We focus back on towards Sam Gardner here. He's trying to get his head down and make his way towards etching towards Taylor Tomlinson, but Tomlinson, I'm pretty sure, had by 0.2 of a second, had a faster time over Gardner there, but he'll make his way now in towards this little section here and around 140 degrees, and then back on towards this little cambered section as the track will fall away from you on the left hand side there, and in towards the Warren, and back down the run, the straight run.
Yep, down the straight run they go now, into the left-hander, crank it over to the left-hand side of the tyre. You can just see the bumps there, and the bumps actually sending Sam Gardner a little bit wide, so 0.4 of a second at the line last time around. I can almost guarantee you it's certainly going to build there, but can Sam Gardner build it back up, and can he close that gap, because he's really going to have to get pushing. He has a nice marker to follow, which is a good thing. Fastest lap of the race goes to Sam Gardner, 49.553, 0.3 of a second away from Taylor Thompson. So one thing's for sure, and that is you cannot say he's not trying.
Yeah, absolutely. I love seeing these whatever age they're at, just them absolutely gunning it around the circuit, absolutely not giving a care in the world, and they're just going for glory here. And we now resume back with the lead of the race. I think there was Tomlinson moving towards the left-hand side there, and look at that, there you go, Sam Gardner having a look now around the outside, but I think he's going to stay in behind there and just copy what Tomlinson is doing. But I think that he'll start learning of where his weakness is. All about analyzing. Oh my goodness me,
analyzing.
But just checking out what his opponent is doing. Where is his weaknesses? Where is his strength? He's looking now around the outside, but I think not quite there as Tomlinson just squeezes down to the inside. Oh, they collided. They both collided, and both the leaders are off, and this is massive. I think there's going to be a yellow flag out here. Can they get the bike restarted? That is Tomlinson that's managed to get it restarted. Oh, he's immediately stopped there, but at a dramatic moment in the early stages of this race, Logan Cousins will get the race lead now.
Yeah, it looked like Taylor Tomlinson might have still kept that race lead, because at the line last time around, 0.7 of a second was the gap. He managed to get the bike restarted. It didn't actually stop once he tipped it over, but they managed to get it going again. And there is Sam Gardner. Sam Gardner is down once again. So 2 crashes in one lap there from Sam Gardner. Very, very disappointing there from him. He's trying to get the bike restarted. The exhaust is bent at the back. It's trying to spit. It's spitting and it's spluttering. They're bashing the handlebars back into place. So bent handlebars there. His bike actually flipped once he fell over on that second time around. But there's Logan Cousins. What is the lead now? 1.2 seconds is the gap between himself and Josh Perkins. But Taylor Tomlinson having a fall after making contact with Sam Gardner. Sam Gardner looked down that inside. It was a bit too late. Tomlinson already committed to the corner. Too much speed, and down they both went. So 3 laps to go. 3 laps remain in this race. And it's Logan Cousins, the number 7, who leads the way from Josh Perkins, and Liam Lindquist also on the podium. An incredible ride there from Liam Lindquist, as more issues there at the side of the track for one of our riders. So they're trying to get the bike restarted. They're trying to get it going again, but we're going to have to wait and see. It's drama on this, with just 3 laps to go. In this final couple of laps, all the drama is starting to unfold now.
Yeah, absolutely. I think looking back to that battle between Tomlinson and the other one, yeah, it was a bit of a desperate move, do you think? He made it a bit too early, just going down that inside and then tipping over. That was really unfortunate there for both riders. But it now leaves with Logan Cousins in the lead of the race with a 1.6 second advantage over Josh Perkins. So I think this is almost wrapped up for the number 7.
Yep, it's almost wrapped up for the number 7, but it's not over till it's over. We've seen there with that mistake from Sam Gardner's, Preston Baker is having his own issues there. The hands are up in the air and he's not happy about that. Can they get the bike restarted? It looks like they have, so he's just got to jump on and safely rejoin them. But Logan Cousins, the number 7 machine, bright yellow levers, leads the way. As another crash there from one of the riders further back in the field. I believe that might be Nicholas Dunwoody having a small accident there. Yeah, that is Nicholas Dunwoody at that final corner, and now he jumps over the tyre wall, and very, very disappointing from him. As right now in this race we have 10 runners remaining. It's been drama all the way throughout. There is our race leader going on to the back section of the circuit, the number 7 machine making his way through the straight run. He powers it out through at the line. Last time around, 2.2 seconds separated this man here, Logan Cousins, from Josh Perkins. It'll be his first race win of the weekend. Liam Lindquist still in 3rd place. So can Logan Cousins hold on to it? This is where the nerves start getting to you. This is where your head can get to you. You start riding tense. You know you can pick up your first race win of the year, and he will. Logan Cousins wins the AC40 Pro race. In 2nd position, Josh Perkins, the number 30, will make his way to the line. Liam Lundquist, number 14, will come home in 3rd, as more problems once again there from the rider that is not happy at all. So Preston Baker having his own issues at the side of the circuit, as Sebastian Gosowski comes across the line in 5th after starting in 9th.
Yeah, incredibly dramatic race for the first race of the weekend. It's really just shown what these guys are about. There will be action. There'll be some absolute action. We now move on towards what I believe will be the highlight reel, as we watch now Logan Cousins make his way now into the pit lane, and he grabs his first win of his of the AC40 Pro Championship.
So it was a great race there, and straight away we had a great battle. It was going to be Taylor Tomlinson, who started the race in pole position and has had an accident later on in the race. But a great first race of the day for these guys, for the AC40 Pro class. But what will we wait and see later on today, because Taylor Tomlinson, he was leading the way. It was a great battle all the way. So Sam Gardner was trying everything to catch up to Taylor Tomlinson throughout this race. You can just see by his body language, he was giving it everything, and he was trying his absolute best. He was trying to close the gap where he could, and it looked like it was, especially going on to this straight run, is where he could make it. You could just see every single lap the gap was closing and closing, and Taylor Tomlinson was getting put more and more under pressure. It got to the point where Taylor Tomlinson would be able to hear the exhaust of Sam Gardner. But all drama started to unfold. It was Taylor Tomlinson who still led the way over the line as Sam Gardner, in chasing, tried a move and it was not very successful. He took out Taylor Tomlinson and himself from the race. Tomlinson ran onto the motorcycle. It was still running, but as he got it over to the other side of the circuit, it stopped running once again. They tried to get restarted. A shake of the head for Tomlinson. He couldn't believe it. Just like this man here, Logan Cousins, he couldn't believe it. He was leading the way as Sam Gardner had a second incident of the race as in this crash, the bike stopped. They had to push the handlebars back into place, but the battles happened all the way down the field. Just 8 finishers in this race, and Logan Cousins was leading the way still by 2 seconds at this point of the race from Josh Perkins, and Liam Lindquist sat in third. Preston Baker had his own issues in the race. He was not happy with that one. He was very, very disappointed and couldn't believe it as they were just in the final couple of laps. But Logan Cousins, he was buzzing as we await for this bike to try and get restarted. But more issues happened. Once again, a faller, Nicholas Dunwoody, crashing at the final corner. He was very, very displeased, just like all the other competitors who crashed in this race. Just 8 finishers made it to the line in this one. It's a real race of nutrition. But here is your race leader. There is Logan Cousins, and he came across the line to win the opening race of the weekend.
Yeah, fantastic action, but it does seem like from what we saw that with Tomlinson and of course Gardner, it just seemed to unravel for them after that accident. The bikes couldn't get working, and it must have been frustrated for that one. So we're now moving on to the AC40 rookies class.
Yep, so now it will be the AC40 rookies who make their way onto the circuit for their first race of the weekend. It's race 2 of the weekend for us here in round 3. But in round 3 is going to be on pole position once again, a very, very quick rider, and that is going to be Jensen Ansel, who makes his way on pole position, as I'll allow you to run your way for this massive field that we have here in the rookie class.
Yeah, so about 23 riders in here. We've got Jason Ansel on pole position, ahead of Mason Frederick and Kai Hawkson, with Max Johnson in 4th. And on the 5th row of the grid, we have Caelan Ratcliffe ahead of Jensen Sindras, with Daisy Poland and Arthur Rich on the 4th row of the grid. 5th row of the grid is Henry Brody ahead of Matthew Jennings, with James Rich ahead of Neville Newth, with Danny Longhurst ahead of Freddie Taylor. Emerson Oakley will be starting in 15th on the number 63 bike, ahead of Austin Dilks, with Tommy Williams in 17th. 18th for Tyler Schalding, ahead of Oliver Wilson, with Reid Sackleby ahead of Ethan Bayliss. Finley Steele in 22nd, with James Dermott 23rd on the grid and last.
Yep, a packed field here today. A lot of different abilities for these guys. These guys are just starting out in their racing careers and just starting out at the age of 6-year-old. And if you finish in top 6 in this rookie championship, you get forced to move up to the pros next year. So a lot on the line for these guys, but they're just starting out, so I'm sure they're just having the most fun possible. We've seen on the opening couple of rounds that Jensen Ansel, he's looking incredibly strong and incredibly dominant on the number 22 machine, but we're going to have to wait and see what's going to happen in the opening race of the day for the AC40 rookies.
Yeah, really excited for this one. A lovely helmet there from our pole sitter. And do you think this one is going to be dramatic as the last one? So I think so.
Yep, I think so too. 23 bikes is in this grid, and now they look to the lights. The revs will rise, the tension rises, and it's going to be off the line. Jensen Ansel, he gets a good initial getaway, but Kai Hawkins tries it round the outside, but it's going to be the likes of Ansel who will have the inside line. for turn 1. Can he make anything of it? Mason Frederick in second position at the moment. A packed field. You can just see the amount of riders trying to navigate their way through this twisty section. For these rookie riders, this is what they need. They need tight corners. They need tricky corners to help them learn their race craft. Just like this man here, Jensen Ansell, leading away from Mason Frederick. So a great start there. And Caelan Ratcliffe is sitting in third position. So a great start there. A clean start from all the riders, most importantly.
Oh yeah, definitely. And I saw that Jason Ansell has been really quick throughout this weekend. He's been topping a lot of the sessions. He's been remaining in that top 3. So he's made his way onto pole position really deservingly, but I don't think he'll run away with the race. There will still be challenges from the likes behind of Mason Frederick.
So now we're being told that Mason Frederick's start was too good to be true. He's been given a jump start penalty, so you'll get dropped in the order of about 3 seconds at the line. So Mason Frederick, not what he's wanting. Fastest lap of the race also goes to Mason Frederick at the moment. So he's going to have quite a lot of work to do to be able to hold on to that second position, never mind fight for this win.
Yeah, so I don't think he'll be aware of this, so he'll just be gunning for it as usual. He's currently sitting in second place, less than a second to the rear of Jason Ansell. They make their way now down towards this final chicane, and he'll be looking towards just trying once again analyse his opponent of Ansell. But through they go over the start-finish line, and it will be 1.1 seconds between the leading pair.
Yep, 1.1 seconds. But of course, Frederick does have that penalty, so if he gets past Jensen Ansell, he's going to have to bridge quite a significant gap. There is your battle, though, for the final podium position. There's your battle for third place. Caelan Ratcliffe leads the way. Kai Hawkins just behind him, and Max Johnson in the back of this field. You can hear the fans, you can hear the supporters, and you can hear the families cheering on for this final position battle, this final podium position. This is the one that everyone wants. They want to be on the podium. It's a big step for these guys, as Max Johnson right now is just watching these two guys in front of him have the battle and hopefully trying to pick up some of the pieces.
Yeah, Max Johnson is just sitting in behind there. They make their way side by side is Ratcliffe and Hawken, and in towards the next sequence of corners. I think that is going to be Ratcliffe just staying in front for now, but they power now down towards the start finish straight and in towards turn 1 and 2. We'll just maybe see a move just in here, looking around the outside. He's going to try and carry the grip in those tyres and switch around.
So now we're going to have to wait, and now they make their way through turn 1 and powering it out. Well, they've already finished turn 1, now they're already into the infield section of the circuit. But I was just about to say, you can really see the bumps through turn 1, especially on these Minimotos. It seems to be the most I would say most fierce bumps. It's really the bumps that affect them the most. You can just see coming around the outside now is Hawken on Ratcliffe. Even in his back section of the circuit, it's not necessarily a smooth track, but a great move there. Round the outside on the flip-flop goes Kai Hawken and goes into the podium position. So third place, but straight away down the inside is Caelan Ratcliffe, fighting it back, trying to hold on to it, but he cannot. And it's going to be Kai Hawken in third place over the line this time around. Would you believe it? Just 2 tenths separating these guys. And now coming onto the scene is Jensen Cedras to come into this battle for third place, making it a 4-bike group.
This is absolutely fantastic, watching all 4 bikes battle for position. Hawken ahead of Ratcliffe, ahead of Johnson, ahead of Cedras. They make their way now down towards the Warren, and you can really see the bump just there. It was quite a big bump through the bottom of the hill there.
Yeah, it is, and these riders will be feeling a lot, of course. Quite a lot of different chassis manufacturers in this Minimoto class. It really depends what you want to buy, what you want to put your money on and put your child on. And it just depends how it deals with that, how much flex it has in that chassis, and how it handles that bumps whenever it's leant over. But leading the way is still Jensen Ansell, 6.9 seconds at the line this time around. Mason Frederick on the number 5 machine is just behind that, but his gap at the moment between himself and Kai Hawken is 2.3 seconds. so he needs to extend it to keep on to that second place. Otherwise, he's going to dramatically drop down the order, as there is the 118 machine of Freddie Taylor making his way through on the Britain Racing machine. They are Britain Racing also racing in the brand new BMW F900R Cup, which some of the FAB riders have actually went on to do in its inaugural season. But here's the battle. Trying to get through some back markers right now is Max Johnson, as the boys in front of them have already done so. So back markers already with 3 laps to go, playing a huge point in this race.
Yeah, so of course the back markers will be just sitting on the racing line, but it's all down to the riders approaching them to try and get past, and that's a roll. That is a big roll, and I wonder who that is. And there's a completely white bike there, and I wonder who that is.
Yep, so he's bagging his feet, and that is Finlay Steele's up on his feet onto the tyre wall, and that's great to see. But there is your race leader. There is Jensen Ansel, 6.1 seconds at the line last time around. He powers it out through towards the straight run to the long left-hander, and right now no one is behind him, no one is in front of him. He is in an absolute ghost town. He is in a different postcode from everyone else at the moment.
He's been absolutely fantastic. He's just absolutely left the field. He's waved bye-bye, and now in towards the final chicane we go.
Yep, final chicane, and now crossing the line. It's final lap time. It's Jensen Ansel who leads the way. We await to see who's going to be in second, who's going to be in third. Of course, Frederick does have that jump start penalty to be added on to his race time in the finishing place. But third position, we await for them to cross the line. It's still Kai Hawken who defends from Caelan Ratcliffe, as Cedrus finds a way through Max Johnson, and you can just hear the cheering, the shouting, and there is Jensen Ansel making his way through with these back markers as well. Once to get passed by the likes of Jensen Ansel, who's at the front, they can learn a lot from him and learn a lot about their own riding. There he is, getting past Freddie Taylor. But it's been a great victory. He's shown the class how to race, how to do these quick times. Fastest lap of the race is, of course, Jensen Ansel, 53.286, as now he's the fastest man still on the circuit. 8.5 at the line. It doesn't matter now. He comes around and he wins the race. He wins race 1 of the AC40 rookies. A great win there. You can hear the cheers from the crowd.
Yeah, absolutely fantastic. We now follow, I believe that's I'm not entirely sure who that is, but they make their way.
Max Johnson getting held up there at the final corner.
All right, so we make our way now down towards the start-finish line. Mason Frederick currently finished second place on the road, but I'm sure that penalty will be applied very soon. Kai Hawken on the podium, I'm sure, with that Frederick penalty. Caelan Ratcliffe will be up on that podium too. Jason Cedras in P5 ahead of Max Johnson and Daisy Polden.
Well, that was a great race, and actually looking at the gaps between the riders, it looks like Mason Frederick has managed to bridge enough of a gap, a 5.2 second gap to Kai Hawken, so he might be able just to hold on to that second place. So he's really done good there to put in his own lap times and put in his own race runs to be able to hold on to that place and not allow his jump start penalty to hold him back.
Yeah, so brilliant race here from the AC40 rookies. We have a look here at the highlights, so we'll go through them together.
Yep, and now the lights went out. You could see actually visibly Mason Frederick's jump start penalty before the lights went out. Just a small jump. He tried to get it stopped, but it didn't matter anymore. He would have known that he did that. He ran very wide on the entry to turn 2 to try to get more of a sweeping line, try carry more momentum out of the corner, but straight away at the front it was Jensen Ansel who led the way, as all eyes were on this battle for third.
Yeah, and then we go round the outside and into the little flip-flap corner with Hawken. Lovely on the inside. He got that inside corner and claimed it, which was the important bit to make that overtake work.
Yeah, probably the best overtake of the race, as we see now the riders coming through that back section of the circuit, as that was Jensen Cedras getting onto the back of this battle to be able to compete for the podium on that final lap. He found a way through on Max Johnson as another crash happened further down the field. That was the number 19 machine that had the fall, but he was straight up and back on his feet. But it was Jensen Ansel who took the race win by 8.7 seconds. So next up we will have big riders, little motorcycles. It's the senior Minimoto class who makes their way out for race 1. The first race of the weekend for these guys. A lot of pressure, a lot of tension will be building into this moment. They haven't been on track for quite a while now, so a lot of time off the circuit and not too much time to get their head back into the game. But a big field here once again in the senior Minimoto class. Will Howarth, he is back on the number 96 machine, and he is back looking for vengeance.
Oh, absolutely fantastic. So we're looking at the Mini Motors race, and we'll be they all make their way up to their grid slots now, and we'll be going through the grid in just a moment.
Yep, so it's a packed field once again in the senior Minimoto class. We always see it for these guys, but Birkin is back, and he's going to be looking for a good result. So the riders now heading out on the second lap for the start of their race. So great action, of course. Usually in this field we see the Birkin brothers out in fourth, second and third. They will start in this race. Holly Harris should be beginning this race from around 5th position, so a good qualifying there from her. But in this field we've always seen some great racing.
Yes, I'm sure it will. So of course they were out Lid last time out, and what happened exactly there?
Yeah, it was a real mixed bunch at Lid. Of course, we're racing on the Monday. It was a double header round, so quite a lot of the riders had to actually head home for the Monday of work, normal life presumed, while some of these riders were able to keep racing. So the championship a bit jumbled at the moment, but currently in this championship it's going to be the likes of Josh Birkins, who leads the way by 38 points from Nick Bennett. So we're going to have to wait and see what's going to happen in this championship fight, how it's going to progress throughout the season, because we always see these guys like to be crazy on the circuit.
Yeah, these are looking absolutely fantastic. The number 126 pulls up to the pole position spot, and we get our grid formed up.
So now we await Richard Holmes-Williams will start in pole position with Josh Birkins alongside him. The lights will go on and then they'll go out, and then action will resume here at Red Lodge. And now the lights go out, we go racing. It's Richard Holmes-Williams who leads the way off the line, but going into turn 1 it looks like Josh Birkins going to try it, but he cannot. Will Howarth diving down the inside turn 2, he had to back up. It's Reese Gentry in 4th place at the moment, just outside that podium position. So we'll wait to see what's going to happen in this field. Mark Payne having a pretty good start there. He started the race from 4th position, but at the front it's still Richard Holmes-Williams in the lead of this race on the 126 machine.
Yeah, brilliant start there from Richard as we make our way now through the sweeping corner in towards the S's. And of course, like you said, the flip-flap with Josh Birkin just in behind. We're following the number 85 here of Chris Yeomans. They make their way now in towards this next section, and we'll complete the first lap here at Red Lodge Kart Circuit.
Yep, we complete the first lap, and now we tick it down to 8 laps to go. Straight away, Will Howarth on the back of Josh Birkins for that second position. Reese Gentry still in 4th place and still trying to battle and jostle for positions. Jerome Richards drops his way down the order to 15th place after the opening lap of the race. Keaton Payne makes his way into 7th. So a great start to this race. A competitive field once again, and Holly Harris, of course, racing in the junior supersport class this year in the Bennett British Superbike Championship. She's in 6th position, ex-British Talent Cup rider, and she's going very strong against these adults. But these adults on these little motorcycles, it's very impressive that it can even fit on it, never mind doing these types of lap times. 52 out of the block.
Immediately, it is very amusing watching these big adults on these tiny little bikes. You can probably pick them up with one hand. I've been seeing the marshals doing over at on the Lid highlights. So these are pretty much tiny little bikes. Adults riding them. There's going to be absolute carnage, I'm pretty sure. We can't say handlebar to handlebar now. We're going to have to say knee to knee.
Yep, certainly. And now we see Mark Payne trying to find any way past Holly Harris, but she closes the door and she closes it to that wall. She's tight in that wall, making sure there's no way past. And that's the real tricky thing about these big riders on these small motorcycles, is you can really position your bike wherever you want it. You have such control because it's such a small chassis, so they can really put it wherever they want. And it looks like actually Mark Payne He has a Flint knee slider in it, so it's sparking every single time his knee hits the deck. So very, very cool to see on the circuit, and not something that you see nowadays. But at the front, once again, Richard Holmes-Williams leads away 1.9 seconds at the line from Josh Birkin, Will Howarth and Reece Gentry in 4th position. So the battle for second is certainly heating up.
Yeah, definitely, as you said, heating up, and rightfully so. You've really described that really well. And we now watch the number 2, the number 96, and the number 100. Now we go down towards the Warren. Down, you can see that little dip in the circuit, and heading now down the run shot. I just saw that Reece Gentry is starting to just close up there on Will Howarth. So he might try a little something heading towards, I think that's Will Howarth a little bit wide there. So Howarth is going to be under a bit more pressure from the number 100 of Gentry.
Yeah, we'll wait to see, can the number 100 of Reece Gentry find his way past through on Will Howarth. Will Howarth coming back this year. You can see the airbag vest over his levers for this round, so if he does crash, it protects his collarbone area, which is one of the most common places to break whenever you crash with one of these motorcycles. But Reece Gentry still in order, as Richard Holmes-Williams at the front. Fastest lap of the race goes to him, a 49.2. But these guys that we're watching right now, the gap, the fastest rider in the field is Reece Gentry. Last time around, he was about 0.3 of a lap quicker than the two in front of them. But it's one thing catching them, it's another thing passing them.
Yeah, like the famous Murray Walker said, it's one thing to catch them, one thing to pass them. One thing that Reece Gentry has done is catch Howarth, as they make their way now down towards the final chicane here at Red Lodge. Of course, making the mistakes. This is looking like the battle for 7th, 8th and 9th, I believe, between Keaton Payne, Chris Yeomans and David Miat. I think that was one of the riders just joining in the back there.
Yeah, that's Mark Payne. So Mark Payne, he was chasing Holly Harris, and now he's in a tip-off or issue at the final corner. So he's battling for that 5th position, and now all the way down to 10th. So he's went from what is 11 points all the way down to 6th. So not what he'll be wanting at all for his championship order, as this battle is still progressing as now they approach back marker. So now it's really starting to get interesting.
Oh, absolutely. We now see the number 112 here, and followed by the 85. So just looking here, not entirely sure. Here we go. 6th down to 9th here. Just looking over at the start-finish line, and I believe that is Josh Birkin, if I'm correct.
As that was there, Reece Gentry finding the way past on Will Howarth. So Reece Gentry managing to get away through on the number 100 machine. Will Josh Birkins get held up there? No, he will not. Will Howarth get held up? We're going to have to wait and see Will Howarth. Look at that gap already between Gentry and between Josh Birkin. Gentry's on it. Gentry's found a way past the number 96 machine of Will Howarth. Can Will Howarth bite back? What's he got inside of him? What's he able to pull out of the bag, as we've seen him do so many times? 3 laps to go in this senior Minimoto race, and at the front, these guys lead the way. Well, Rich Holmes-Williams leads the way 2.5 seconds ahead, and these guys jostling for position. But there is Will Howarth finding the way through once again. So can Reece Gentry find a way back past? Because look how tight this infield section is.
Yeah, I was going to say, when that overtake was happening, I was going to say it was coming. It was really coming soon, because he was just gaining. You saw that he was faster than both these guys, and he was really going to try and get back onto the back of Will Howarth. But we now currently watch Richard Holmes-Williams making his way now with 2 laps remaining here at Red Lodge Karts Circuit, making his way now down towards Simpsons Street and in towards the last chicane. So he's got a great gap here of about 3 seconds, and our timer will reset as he crosses the line. 1 lap to go here at Red Lodge. Makes his way in towards this section, and this is pretty much wrapped up. He's just got to try and just keep himself on the bike. It looks so easy to just fall off and or just tip, as you said, Lewis. But we now follow back with the battle between Birkin, Howarth and Gentry, as they make their way in towards the Warren, and back with our race leader, Richard Holmes-Williams. A fantastic, dominant performance. He's been so quick throughout this week, and he's really shown it here in qualifying. and the checkered flag will be coming out very, very soon for our race leader. One more corner to go. A fantastic victory for Richard Holmes-Williams. He comes across the line and will do a proper wheelie to claim victory here at Red Lodge. Josh Birkin will come home in second, with Will Howarth completing the podium. Rhys Gentry in the number 100 will just come home in fourth. Really unfortunate for him, but I'm sure he'll be able to get it in the next race. We now watch this battle of 4 bikes making their way now across the timing beam. This is going to be quite close here, but it's going to be Holly Harris claiming 5th place ahead of David Miaz. Keaton Payne there in at 7th. We had a Chris Yeomans. It looks like Payne there actually beat Yeomans out to the line there, with Nick Bennett and Mark Payne rounding off the top 10.
Yep, great victory there. 2.2 seconds it was at the line between Richard Holmes-Williams and Josh Birkins, but he did start in pole position. It was the 126 machine. They waited for the lights to get out. It was tension on the grid, and then the revs began to rise. Richard Holmes-Williams, he had a great qualifying session and he had a great race. The lights went out, and straight away off the line it was Holmes-Williams who led the way. Josh Birkin tried his luck through the first corner around the outside, but he got left out to dry, and Will Howarth tried to make a move as well. The 3 bikes there in second, third and fourth already battling for position. There was that battle between Holly Harris and Mark Payne, so a great battle between them two there. Holly Harris actually running with a t-shirt this weekend on top of her lever, so interesting about that, but you could just see actually the sparks coming off Mark Payne's knee slider with the flint inside of it. So this battle continued to go on for second, third and fourth. It was Josh Birkin who led the way in it on the number 2 machine with Rhys Gentry behind him. Will Howarth though quickly wanted to find any way past, and he would power it onto this straight, get alongside Rhys Gentry and find a way through into turn 1. But Richard Holmes-Williams had another dominant race victory, 2.2 seconds at the line. He had to manoeuvre himself around a couple of corners. The 126 machine took the race win in the opening senior Minimoto race of the weekend. A great race victory, and hopefully we can see it tomorrow. So now it is time for the LC40 Elite class, where Byron Johnson will start the race from pole position. Lewis Hull will start the race in second place alongside him in the front row, with Taylor Tomlinson in third. Matthew Thomas will be starting the race from 4th, with Sam Gardner in 5th, and we actually have a rider missing in our 6th place spot, so not what he'll be wanting at all. So 6th place missing from our grid, but there is our pole position man, Byron Johnson, looking ready, and he's looking ready to race at the moment. But that is Nicholas Dunwoody that is missing from this race start at the moment, so hopefully he can find his way even as a late starter into this race. But now the riders head out on their warm-up lap, and it's going to be Byron Johnson on pole position in his 16 bike field.
Yeah, so it's this 16 bike field. We're going to make their way now round the laps, just get their confidence up. This is acting as a formation lap. So it looks like they'll make their way just around the lap, simple as possible, to line up on this grid. I'm really looking forward to all the action here. And what are you thinking? What do you think will happen here?
Yep, it's going to be a great battle. Once again, it's a packed field, a 16 bike field here in the LC40 Elite class. It's the highest class of Minimoto racing here at FAB-Racing. So I'm sure that we're going to see a great battle. Byron Johnson, he's going to be wanting the title. He's going to be wanting something special. His brother Austin won the championship last year after some great battles between the two throughout the season. So a lot of guys racing the multiple classes in this grid. There's not really too many riders racing the LC40 Elites that only races in one class. It's more of a add-on class to get that extra track time and get that extra competitive racing edge. As you can see, Lewis Hull, the size difference between himself and Byron Johnson on that front row. So the riders wait on the grid at the moment. Lewis Hull, he looks focused though. They point to the lights will go on. And the revs built, and we go racing. Byron Johnson, a clean getaway, a very steady getaway, but a fast one at that. Lewis Hull in second place at the moment, with Taylor Tomlinson in third. Sam Gardner is in fourth place with Ollie Sims just behind him. Matthew Thomas just behind them in sixth place with Harrison Day having the good start himself. Sebastian Castelli once again further down the order, of Bradley Curtis having a great start to his race. Cal Maxwell at the back of your picture there, making their way through. But still, the 47 of Matthew Thomas, he's currently in fifth place, and he has a jump start penalty to add on to that, so not what he'd be wanting at all. A terrible start to his race, but Lewis Hull trying to find any way past. He has to use all of his body throughout the corner to try and make up that time that he loses on a straight line deficit. I did speak to Lewis Hull's dad at the end of round 1 and 2, and there is the number 12 having a little crash there, crashing out of the race. Very, very disappointing for Archie Hooper. So Archie Hooper, a disappointing start to his race, but still 8 laps to go.
Yeah, fantastic start to this race. Byron Johnson really getting the launch that he needed ahead of Lewis Hull. They make their way now through the 1/880 degree. That's the number 47 of Matthew Thompson with that penalty. So that's really going to prove to be really horrible start for him, as he currently runs in 5th place. He'll be trying to make his way through the pack, and that's really what he can do at this point. I'm not sure if he'll be aware of the penalty. I'm not sure if he's aware that he's actually done it, but I'm sure he'll be notified at the end of this race, or we'll see whenever that happens.
Yeah, we're going to have to wait and see when the official results come out later on. But there is Ollie Sims having a battle further back down the field with Matthew Thomas, as Lewis Hull in second position, still under threat from Taylor Tomlinson, as Byron Johnson leads the way at the line last time around. 0.745 of a second was the gap between first and second. So Byron Johnson trying to stretch out that lead early on. Lewis Hull has a bit of a disadvantage in a straight line, but I was speaking to Lewis Hull's dad at the end of the last round, and they did say they were having to do quite a lot of work to the motorcycle between round 2 and 3 to try and help with the straight line deficit on these liquid cool machines. Some of these riders racing on the air cool bikes, the slower motorcycles in the straight line, such as the likes of Oliver Hall is racing in the air cool bike, so they have a lot of time to make up throughout the corners, but it still provides some great racing. Coming over the start finish line, Byron Johnson leads away 0.6 of a second from Lewis Hull, who holds the fastest lap of the race, a 49.232 at the line last time around. He's closing the gap ever so slightly.
Yeah, so fantastic there from Byron Johnson. I just noticed that Lewis Hull through that last corner, which just wasn't using the curb. I'm not sure if it was a bit of a late breaker or something, but just wasn't using the curb. But he's still trying to look and try and get onto the back of Byron Johnson. He's faster by just over 1/10 of a second, about half a second separating the front two. So there's definitely an overtake building here. The tension is building definitely for an overtake, and I'm sure that Hull will be able to get past soon. He's just got to try and figure out where Johnson is just a little bit weak on this circuit, and just try and capitalise on his strength to really close up to the back of that number 37.
Yep, Byron Johnson leading the way this time around. He sets his personal best of the race and extends the gap. So Byron Johnson, one thing we've seen from him over the past couple of seasons is he's not one for making mistakes. He's not one for cracking under pressure. He goes about his own business, does his own lap times, does what he's comfortable with, and then when it's time, he's able to push, he's able to stretch out that gap, as Ollie Sims in 4th position at the moment, with Taylor Tomlinson still in 3rd. So Taylor Tomlinson, he's still there. He's in a reasonable distance, a reasonable gap between 1st and 2nd. So if there's any drama, if there's any issues, he's there to pounce, he's there to capitalise on them, and he's there to try and climb his way through the podium positions. As Matthew Thomas, he drops down to 4th position in the order at the moment on the 47 machine, with Harrison Day just behind him. So at the front, Byron Johnson leads the way, another personal best, and now 1.2 seconds at the line.
Yeah, so fantastic. We see a side-by-side battle between here, the number 47 of Matthew Thomas, and he looks to be getting ahead. I think that was of Ollie Sims, and that's the number 12 there of, I believe, Archie Hooper. So Hooper's already had an issue at the beginnings of this race. He had another one. Oh, he's absolutely fuming with himself as someone's run over to grab a little bit of help, and there you go. The bike is being carried over to the side of the track, and that is a really unfortunate end to the race for Hooper. Looking back here at this 2-bike battle.
Yep, there's Bradley Curtis defending from Rockstar Rex Austin. I've been told that's what he likes to be known as, that's what he likes to be called, and he finds it pretty cool, as just in front of this lot is Oliver Hall. So this is in 9th, 10th and 11th. These are for the final positions within the top 10, but there's Ollie Sims trying to find a way through. He's frustrated trying to get through these back markers here, so Ollie Sims, frustration shown from him, is actually Ollie Sims, he's had his own issues on that last lap. He's actually down in the order, he's down outside of the top 10, and this is Ollie Sims' own running position. So frustration shown from him, so either a mistake from himself, or we've seen he was having a battle with Matthew Thomas. But 3 laps to go in this race, and drama already starting with Byron Johnson leading the way by 9/10 of a second ahead of Lewis Hull, and Ollie Sims crashing out and having an issue, dropping all the way down to 11th place.
Yeah, so following the back with Johnson and Hull, we've got Matthew Thomas still with that penalty, but he's running in the podium positions, but I'm sure he'll be under pressure from Harrison Day in the number 15. We carry on watching this battle between these 4 bikes, and there's Archie Hooper who's managed to get going. And following down to the rest of the top 10, 5th place Josh Perkins is ahead of Liam Lindquist in the number 14 bike, with Sam Gardner ahead of Oliver Hall, and Bradley Curtis with Rex, with that's Ollie Sims moving ahead in the number 73. That's completing the top 10.
Yep, completing the top 10. Ollie Sims finds his way through Archie Hooper. That will not be a position for him though, as Archie Hooper is getting lapped, as we wait to see can Ollie Sims do anything on Bradley Curtis. Bradley Curtis coming down from Scotland this year to race in the FAB-Racing Minibike British Championship after racing up in Scotland in the Scottish Championship. So new competition for him, as Byron Johnson on this last lap of the race continues to lead the way on the number 37 machine. So Byron Johnson leading the way in. There's not much of a gap though, 7/10 of a second at the line last time around between this man here, Byron Johnson, and Lewis Hull just behind as they head onto the back straight. They head onto the straight run, they tip it to the left, they plank it on their knees. So much feeling and so much feedback you get from the motorcycle whenever it's tipped over on its side. They go through the flip-flop and power it out through, getting the throttle as hard as they can. Byron Johnson's looking relaxed, but he actually has no gap to relax here, as 7/10 of a second at the line. He takes the checker flag. It was a dominant run once again, but Lewis Hull, he's not made it easy for Byron Johnson. Second position for him, and Byron Johnson 9/10 at the line. He won thereby, as Matthew Thomas on track will come home in third, but we'll have to wait and see later on where he actually officially finishes after his jump start penalty. So 4th place, we await to see the bright pink helmet of Harrison Day. There he is, comes across the line, as Josh Perkins, Liam Lindquist, Sam Gardner and Oliver Hall will lead the big battle for the final positions within the top 10. So, great race once again. Tension was building already from the start of the race, with Byron Johnson hoping to lead the way.
Yeah, so if we now watch the launch, brilliant start there from Byron Johnson, making his way towards turn 1, managed to fend off from Lewis Hull. They're all having a look down the inside, a lot of them using the inside line, see if they can nick a position or two.
So now we await to see there through the back section of the circuit. Now Lewis Hull, slightly different line, he needs to try and carry a little bit more corner speed as he struggles on the exit of this corner, but Byron Johnson leads the way, continuing to extend his gap, and that was one of the crashes for Archie Hooper on the number 12 machine. He managed to remount, he managed to get going again, but 37 led the way from the 41, and then Taylor Tomlinson sat in 3rd place. So there was Matthew Thomas. We found out he did get given a jump start penalty after he just slightly crept on the line. So the 47 machine, not what he'd be wanting at all, as coming over the start finish line was Ollie Sims, who was having a great battle, and you can just see there someone sticking out the left hand side of his motorcycle. So there we see Archie Hooper on the 12 having another issue there, and he was very, very disappointed. As we're just being told, just before we wrap things up, that Taylor Tomlinson will be disqualified and he will not be counted in that race result due to not having a transponder fitted on his motorcycle at all. So 77, who finished in 3rd on the track, will not get that 3rd position at the line.
Yeah, that's really unfortunate there for Taylor Tomlinson, but we're now heading on to the next race. So we now have the Extreme 200 race, I believe. They all make their way onto the dummy grid, and they should be released in just a moment. So the Extreme 200 series class, is a really exciting class in my opinion. What do you think of the class?
Yeah, it's an exciting class. It's an open class practically. You can race almost anything in this class as long as it adheres to the CC regulations. But Sullivan Mente starts this race from pole position with Richard Holmes-Williams in second. Ronnie Harris begins the race from third, with Charlie Huntingford starting in fourth place alongside him in the second row of the grid, with Clayton Edmonds starting in fifth place, and Phillips Roviak alongside him, with Zach Tureen, Noah Gilray, Will Howarth and Ben Ridwell rounding off our grid. So pole position, man, Sullivan Mente, the number 4, looking incredibly strong. He looked strong in lead. He had a great battle with Casey O'Gorman, but now what can they do as the riders head off on their warm-up lap?
Yeah, so really excited to see what these Extreme 200 class riders are made of. So of course, what happened last time out in Lid?
Yeah, last time out, great battles, especially between Sullivan Mente and Casey O'Gorman. All eyes were on them, and one of the races that resulted in a slight tip-off from Sullivan Mente. It was just a racing incident. Casey O'Gorman looked the wrong way over his shoulder as Sullivan Mente went alongside him on the other side. So slight contact was made on the straight, and Sullivan Mente crashed out the race, and he sat out for the rest of the weekend as he was preparing himself for Silverstone. But there is Will Howarth. He looked strong in the Moto team qualifying earlier on and in the senior Minimotos this weekend. So he's in the Extremes this weekend. The first time this year he's been in the Extremes, and the first time I think in history he's been in the Extremes. So Will Howarth, he's one to watch.
Yeah, absolutely. I think these two on the front row of the grid are definitely going to be on a massive. We're going to be having a really good tussle on the way towards turn 1. But now we get ready for the start of the Extreme 200 race. Pointing to the lights, and here we go. Sullivan Mente on the left, and we go racing here at Red Lodge Kart Circuit in towards turn 1. And there it goes. I think that was Richard Holmes-Williams trying to make his way around the outside, unfortunately unsuccessful in that one. Sullivan Mente still keeping in the lead here. They follow their way in toward the 180 degrees corner here and getting that bike tipped in, but it's still the number 4 out in the lead of the race. Richard Holmes-Williams carrying that speed there, trying to just fill in behind. There's a little bit of gap there toward the next bike of Ronnie Harris, and they tip their way in towards the next sequence of corners. Then of course into the flip-flap we go, and carrying it down the Simpsons straight. And we'll start to complete the final, the fastest lap here of Red Lodge here. They paddle their way out of the last corner and towards the line. Sullivan Mente on top here. 11 laps to go.
Yep, he has 1.5 seconds at the line last time around, and Richard Holmes-Williams still in second place on the 126 machine. He's trying to find the way past, and Sullivan Mente not showing on our time screens just yet as in first, so hopefully he has a transponder fitted to that motorcycle, because we've seen it cause havoc already today. But Ronnie Harris sitting in third position at the moment. He had issues actually with his suspension last round, did Ronnie Harris, but he's back, and he's back looking very, very strong. Phillips Roviak also had some mechanical issues. He's changed motorcycles completely this round, so he is in fourth place on the 75 machine. Richard Holmes-Williams, he's managing to keep tabs on Sullivan Mente, which in itself is so impressive. They're doing 45.3s now, is the likes of Richard Holmes-Williams and Sullivan Mente. So the gap right now is absolutely nothing between the front two.
Yeah, they're going right at it already, with Richard Holmes-Williams really trying to see if he can get past. I saw him on the inside there of turn number 2 there, going into Senna, and now out towards the straight here. Down the back straight we go, and heading in towards the back section of the circuit. They'll get the bike tipped in and in towards this corner of the S's. Through the flip-flap we go. Oh, he's gone off, and that's Holmes-Williams, and he's gone off. That's a rare mistake from Holmes Williams. He'll get back on, and immediately the bit of grass hair hanging off the handlebar, flicking that off, but he'll rejoin quite far down the grid here. Sullivan Mente now with the fastest lap of the race, 45.0 for the number 4.
Yep, 45.013 was the lap time of Sullivan Mente, but Rich Holmes was well dropped down the order after that fall, after that incident, and he should be able to get a bike restarted, remount and kickstart it and get going once again. But Sullivan Mente using the back brake there, and slight unsteady rear end there as the engine braking kicked in as he released that clutch. But there's Philip Sorovic winning the way from Zach Tureen and the 21 machine off Clayton Edmonds. So Clayton Edmonds trying to find his way past Zach Tureen as Sorovic will not be, well, Sorovic's trying to find any way through, but Sorovic, as I said, different bike this weekend for him. It's almost like a Moto team style machine for him. He's not on his normal KTM 85cc. He's on a 4-stroke chain. You can hear its grunt coming out the corner compared to the whine of the 2-strokes. Slightly different setup, but once again, Sorovic still very, very quick in 4th place as well. And very, very close there was Zach Tureen to hit in the back of him. He managed to get out of it. He managed to sit with the bike just enough and get enough brake pressure on to not make contact, but that would have lost him a lot of momentum and a lot of time.
You can see there Clayton Edmonds there on the back of Tureen. They've had their way now down the back straight towards this next section of the course, and it looks to be, is there going to be anything here from Edmonds? Looking to the outside there. They're going to go into the flip flap to see if they can do anything, but nothing there. And I think they'll just carry their way with the momentum that they have and take it to the final chicane of the circuit, zipping their way past our wonderful cameras here and heading towards the turn 1 and 2. So currently Sullivan Mente still on top here with a 6.2 second gap to Ronnie Harris and Charlie Huntingford in P3 with that podium. Philip Sorovic currently in P4. He's a couple of seconds behind that podium spot. So I think there will be a battle in the podium for the podium spots, but we're currently focused here on Zach Tureen and just seeing if Clayton Edmonds once again go.
Yep, so at the front it's still Sorovic who leads this battle from Zach Tureen and Clayton Edmonds just behind. But at the front of the entire race, it's Sullivan Mente leading the way by 7 seconds from Ronnie Harris. Charlie Huntingford is in 3rd place with Philip Sorovic, Zach Tureen and Clayton Edmonds in this battle in stream for 4th, 5th and 6th. Richard Holmes Williams is all the way down in 7th after his crash earlier on as Noah Gilray in the Extreme 200 class this weekend. We're used to see him on a Minigp 70 machine, now just on the KTM 85. So Noah Gilray in 8th as Will Howarth crosses the line now in 9th place. Will Howarth slightly off the pace from what we're used to seeing him, but I think this is more of a long-term project. It's the first time we've seen this bike in the flesh, so still a lot of development work to be done as Ben Ridwell is in 11th, and there's Ben Ridwell getting lapped by Ronnie Harris, our man who is in 2nd place and the closest man to Sullivan Mente, which is just crazy to say with a 7.6 second gap.
Yeah, so Ronnie Harris running really well here in 2nd place. He follows his way through the Warren here, and he's in a bit of a I want to say class of his own at the moment, running in P2. He's got quite a gap to Sullivan Mente, but Charlie Huntingford quite not too far behind back, about a second and a half. So I think there's definitely a battle brewing up here if Charlie Huntingford can get onto the back. But it'll be a big ask for especially for these. We join this battle with being led by Zach Tureen and Clayton Edmondson and the 7th and 8th there. Switching now back to Ronnie Harris and the number 66 bike heading towards the 180 degrees. And like I said, he's now built that gap over Charlie Huntingford. So I think Charlie might be having a few issues at the moment.
Yep, this is the battle to watch, though. The battle for 4th place. Zach Tureen leading it from Clayton Edmonds, and Richard Holmes Williams finding a way through Philip Sorovic, who's dropped all the way down this order, down this group, and already actually starting to lose some ground on them. So does Sorovic have a slight issue in this race, or is he just a bit startled? So we're going to have to wait and see what Sorovic can do. Obviously, he had that crash in Silverstone just a couple of weeks ago, and he's still on the mend from that. So maybe some after effects from that, but Zach Tureen leading this battle and leading away from Clayton Edmonds, but Richard Holmes looking down the inside on the 126 machine, now the outside as he tries to get a wide line into turn 2. They all take different approaches, take different lines, and all bunch up, almost ramming into the back of each other.
Yeah, that was quite close there, seeing both of the riders there, Sorowiak and Holmes, trying to take the inside there, side by side, now heading in towards the next corner. Holmes there on the outside, and he's going to take that position away from the half Polish rider.
Tipping into the back section of the circuit now, and now we go into the S's. A straight run out of here before they go onto the brakes once again towards Paddock Bend and towards the end of this lap. Zach Tureen, the 89, leading this group, but Richard Williams says otherwise. He looks down the inside and he makes the move stick, he makes it work. On the side of the tyre they go into turn 2, and then powering it out through, straight, flicking it to the right, trying to move all your body force, all your body weight to the other side of that tyre. But Richard Williams, he's currently on a recovery ride and he's doing a good job of it, making his way into 4th place after that fall earlier on in the race.
Yeah, it was really good him seeing Richard Holmes Williams up there as he looks to be overtaken here. I think that is I'm not entirely sure who that was, my mistake, but he's on an absolute run here after that forward, but he does show that he has a race-winning pace, would you say?
Yeah, he certainly does. And race winning pace is Sullivan Mente as well as we go into the last lap of the race for these guys. Sullivan Mente on the number 4 machine, leading the way by 11.6 seconds in a land of his own from Ronnie Harris. Charlie Huntingford still in podium positions, but they're still battling and fighting for that 4th place position. Sullivan Mente will not care though as he comes over the line and takes the race when he wins in style. So Sullivan Mente, a great race there from him and over the line. We'll wait to see what that gap's going to be. There's Ronnie Harris, he shows his way to the podium positions. 12.8 seconds was the gap at the line as they're casually coming over the line is Charlie Huntingford for that 3rd place, Richard Holmes Williams in 4th, then Clayton Edmonds, Zach Tureen and Philip Sorowiak in 7th. We'll wait for Noah Gilray and Ben Ridwell to come over the line for 8th and 9th. But what a great race we had there. It was Sullivan Mente who led the way and he dominated and he caused the likes of Richard Holmes Williams to crack under that pressure.
Yeah, that was really good to just try and put your rival under pressure. And he really did force him into his mistake. He really had to get Richard Holmes Williams to go on a recovery ride, as I should be saying, making his way up to 4th place. Do you think he'll be frustrated that he didn't get a podium?
I think he's going to be more frustrated about the fall that he had. It was all unforced. He did it all by himself, it seemed, and he just cracked under that pressure and he lost a vital podium position. I'm sure we'll be talking about that tomorrow and rounds to come. So what a great race we had there for the Extreme 200 class. A great race for their first race of the day, but still plenty of action to come up here at Red Lodge.
So we're just having a look now at we've got the Moto teams. So Moto team is up next here. So we're just having a discussion of what is next. We've got a little bit of piece of paper with all the results. Thank you for tuning in. If you have missed anything, we have had some fantastic action, haven't we, Lewis, throughout these couple races that we've been having.
Yeah, we certainly have great racing from these guys, and we've seen great racing from last year as well from the Moto team class. The Moto team making their way on to the grid and making their way on for the start of this race, where Team SFC Racing will make their way onto pole position. 2 classes, of course, in the Moto team race, but Team FSC will lead the way overall, with Team Acne alongside them, both in the open class, with Will Howarth on the number 96 in 3rd, with Team Pinky in the Brain in 4th position, and the leaders of the standard class at the moment. Team Italia will start from 5th with Jack Van Eden in 6th. Team Aimball starts in 7th with Team Martin in 8th, and a packed field as we have the likes of Team Martin, Dave Glover and Ernie and the Badger, rounding out what is a packed field, as we also have Team Burt, Team Keats and Madison in this race. So a great action that's coming up here today, and I'm sure we're going to see it later on once this race finally gets underway as the riders make their way out on the warm-up lap.
So as we know, should watch the riders out onto their warm-up lap. Again, once again, it's all about be about getting their confidence in and just having a quick sighter before heading around the race, heading around the circuit for a proper race on their bikes. So heading towards the final chicane they go. It'll be Team CFC Racing up at the top of the grid with the number 1 of Team ACME we're alongside them. So they all form up. So the two Acme. So I was just getting a pronunciation in my ear. And so there you go. The next couple of rows are just about to form, and a thrilling race ahead of us here for Moto Team. And I'm really excited to see what these guys are at. I think they are the ones that started our coverage actually. So as we now start the race here, the lights are on, and we get ready to go. The revs rise, and we get ready to go here at Red Lodge Circuit. We should be going green in just a moment here. We continue to wait on the grid, and we go racing here at Red Lodge Circuit. The team CFC Racing make their way into the first corner, and as they make their way through the first corner, it's a really tight grid here. Those bikes are really big, so they need to try and be able to fit as many into the circuit as possible.
Yep, they certainly do. It's SFC Racing and leads the way from Will Howarth after the first couple of corners. They make the way towards the back straight now. Keats having a slightly disappointing start, but the number 1 plate of Team Acne is in 3rd position. But Will Howarth straight away on the pace. He's just finished what was a great Extreme 200 race, and now he's already on the Moto Team bike, already battling for that race win from SFC Racing. SFC Racing on the 133 machine, power it through the final corner. We'll wait to see what the gap's going to be between them. Will Howarth, he has still a bit of work to do, because it's very tricky, as you mentioned, to pass around this circuit. You have to be committed, and Jack Van Eden is in 4th position at the moment. So Jack Van Eden just off that podium places with Team Aimbolt, Team Piggy in the Brain and Team Italia just behind as well. Howarth has a sneaky little look down the inside, but he had to back out of it. It's pretty tight through that section, and he was stuck out to dry for the outside, but now heads into long left-hander. He makes it work, and he makes it stick. SFC Racing looks for the undercut, looks for any way past, but he's covered it off, and Will Howarth, that is textbook perfect.
Oh, brilliant move there from Howarth, and looking at the timings here, he's got the fastest lap of the race so far. They now power their way, zip across the line here, and they'll make their way onto the next lap. 9 laps to go here at Red Lodge Circuit, and it looks like Will Howarth currently in 2nd place, ahead of I believe that's the number 1. Correct me if I'm wrong. And I was wrong in that one. So number 133, the Team CFC Racing. So that's for the lead of the race, isn't it? Just double checking with myself. And head now down the straight run. The cameras just catch the action here. The brown number 96, Will Howarth, just continues to now. What is he going to try and build that? He will try and build that lead, of course, over Team CFC Racing, because the number 133 has been really decent around this track, and they've been really confident. But that lead change will apply a little bit of pressure to that bike in 2nd place now.
Yep, SFC Racing is having to do some work to be able to catch up to Will Howarth. 7/10 of a second at the line last time around. Plenty of work still to do for them, as now Team Aimball is leading from Team Italia. Team Italia took a short race win last time out at Lids. Nobody could believe it, not even themselves, and now they're back, fighting for what is 6th position. So now down the inside at the 180 degrees hairpin there. That's a very impressive move to be made on the Moto Team bike. Very tricky to do. Full commitment from them, but Will Howarth, we've seen it time and time again over the past year or so. He just gets to the front, extends that gap, doesn't make a single mistake. The only thing that can stop him is himself, it seems, or a mechanical. So right now in the standard class, in the lead at the moment, we have Team Pinky in the Brain on 0-1 machine. This is the battle for second position in the standard class, as now we await to see Team Pinky in the Brain on the 0-1. We have a 1 machine and a 0-1 machine. This Moto team class can be quite confusing for the viewers at home, of course. 2 classes, 2 numbers very similar as well, so a lot of action still to come in this race. Is at the line, Will Howarth still leading.
Yeah, of course, like you said, that 01 and number 1, oh, very slow. Just switching away here. That was a back marker, I believe, there, but it's still Will Howarth currently at the still in the lead of the race, ahead of CFC Racing. So it was Madison Luth getting laps there. So we carry on with this battle for the lead. You just see there Will Howarth just doing a check over his shoulder, seeing where his opposition is currently at. There's still about 4 tenths behind there, but you just saw SFC Racing, just correcting myself there, looking to try and make that move down towards turn 2. That's a very popular move, it seems like. Everyone trying to distract their opponent down at turn number 2, throwing it to the inside and seeing if there'll be a little reaction down towards the back section of the circuit, carrying the speed now. Then they've got to just slow down on looking again, once again making another dive there, just trying to distract Howarth, but Howarth having absolutely none of it here as they head towards the final 2 corners on this circuit. Make sure to avoid the heightened curves, and round we go, zipping towards the timing line. 5 laps to go here at Red Lodge.
Yep, 5 laps to go in this race. What's going to happen? We have to wait and find out, because Team SFC Racing, look on it, they're not allowing Will Howarth to extend his gap. Last time around, Will Howarth was around 1/10 of a second quicker, so we're going to have to wait and see how that gap progresses and how that gap develops. So still quite a bit off the lap record at the moment, but SFC Racing, this is going to be a good lap for them. They're right in the tail, and now they're approaching back markers as we head into the back section of the circuit. That is the Keats just in front of them. Is the Keats going to get out of the way? Yes, he does. So SFC Racing still in the tail, and now they approach another lot of back markers. This is the point in the race where it's so crucial. 5 laps to go. You have to use your head, you have to stay calm, and you have to take it easy, really, because if you make a stupid mistake with one of these back markers, it can end your race. It can end your chances for a race win, as we've seen there with the SFC bike, just hold them back ever so slightly.
Yeah, that must be so frustrating for the number 133, just getting held up there. But we join this battle between the Jack Van Eden and Team Pinky in the Brain and Team Italia, all within a 3-bike battle. Heading towards turn 2 we go with these riders. They'll snake their way through this sequence of corners. They'll continue to see if there can be any moves done. See Team Italia there trying the inside there, but losing a bit of momentum in the process. So we're currently focused here with Pinky and the Team Pinky in the Brain, just behind Jack Van Eden there. Van Eden seems to be quite content here in holding down that 4th place, but now looking down the inside, there goes the Team Pinky in the Brain, but nothing can do. And now switching through and leading. This is actually the lead. I've just realised on the time screen, this is the standard class lead of the race here. So they will be really going at it if they're really thinking standard championship points in their brain. And that's Team Italia on the inside here of Team Pinky in the Brain, and the lime green and black leathers are going to make their way through. And that was almost close to contact there. They head through the next sequence of corners.
Yep, Team Italia finding a way through turn 2, and now they look very strong. A wider exit there, and then clip it for a later apex on the sweeping right-hander before they go on to the back straight through the left. A little look over the shoulder does Jack Van Eden, as now Team Italia looks so strong. Completely different riding styles there. Jack Van Eden likes to almost get all of his body over the front of the motorcycle, over that front wheel, a more modern approach to motorcycle racing, while Jack Van Eden has a more centralised body position. It helps him a bit more, helps stabilise the bike a bit more, and certainly around this circuit, you want the bike to be stable, but it works for Team Italia, and that is how they're in 5th place and battling for that lead of the standard class. As at the lead of the race, Will Howarth, 2.9 seconds at the line last time around. Super impressive for himself, and now it looks like he's in a field of his own. Obviously some back markers to get through, but once he's through them, a field of his own, nobody looks to be able to catch up to him at the moment, but still 2 laps to go.
Yeah, fantastic there from Will Howth. He'll make his way now around, just lapping the 135 bike of Team Martin. He'll head in towards the first couple of corners. He's been absolutely outstanding, but I've just noticed here on the timing screen the gap has come down just a bit, but it's only 2.5 seconds ahead of Team CSFC Racing. So now Howth will make his way now down towards the Warren corner and towards the straight. He's only got a couple of corners, about half a lap to go before he can now cross the line and claim victory here at Red Lodge. He'll make his way now just nice and calmly. Don't want to fall off now, don't want to get to your head, but through the final corner we go, down the Simpson Straight, and Will Howarth will be the first driver in the rider in the Moto team. Sorry for the mistake there, but now here comes Will Howard. He'll claim victory here for Moto team. Fantastic from all our riders here. Team SFC Racing will come home in second with Team Acme. Oh, there's an accident there, and who that is?
That's number 17 of Jack Van Eden, the lead, the Open Team class member in 5th position. He was sitting, so Team Italia managed to get away past it. Now Team Italia celebrating for that 4th place. A drama on the last lap.
Yeah, that was absolutely wow. I just didn't expect it. It just pan over, and we have seen a lot of carnage in there, but just didn't expect it there at the final lap. So it looks like Team Italia has taken the win here for Moto team in the standard class. Will Howth overall and the open class. Fantastic race.
Yep, fantastic race. Will Howth 3.8 seconds at the line, and now Jack Van Eden still trying to get that number 17 machine picked up from the dirt, but I don't think it's going to work. But Will Howth taking the race win by 3.8 seconds at the line over Team Acne Racing. Team Italia and Pinky and the Brain are in 4th and 5th place, with Team Martin, Dave Glover, Team Ernie and the Badger, Team Burt in 6th, 7th, 8th and 9th, with Keats Racing rounding out our top 10 as Maz Martlew rounds out our finishers for this race. Just 11 finishers, a lot of last lap drama there, a lot of drama throughout the races, 2 classes, and once again the Moto team delivering here for us at FAB-Racing. So now coming up is the Mini GP 50 class. The riders are waiting, they're in the final discussions. 2 team members, 2 helpers and 2 their friends. Ollie Sims giving a thumbs up there to Austin Johnson, who makes his way onto the grid. Look at Alan there, back of your picture, in crutches at the moment after he got his ankle ran over at Silverstone at round 1 of the British Superbikes Championship. Taylor Lawrence as well, retired FAB rider, making an appearance once again, but this time just as a helper, just watching along as he looks back in his PBM Ducati jacket at the back of your picture there. But on the front row of the grid this time around, you're going to have Marco Holt with Luke Fitchett at number 7 alongside him. Marco Holt looked incredibly strong in qualifying, and now he looks like he wants to take the race win.
Yeah, absolutely. I'm really excited to see what this grid is going to look like. We've got some amazing riders here as we are about to get the formation lap underway here for the Mini GP 50s.
Marco Holt looks to have some issues there in the grid, maybe just wanting to get back in this grid. He's stalled it on the grid, actually, I think Marco Holt has, so he's asking for some sort of help or some sort of communication to ask for help there. I don't know if his bike's even running at the moment, or he's just wanting some checks from that pole position. So the bike is running once again, and now they set off on their warm-up lap, where it's going to be Marco Holt who starts the race from pole position from Luke Fitchett in second. Archie O'Brien starts the race from third, with Wilson Delt, Sam Gardner on the 4th and 5th position. Frankie Watson joins Sam Gardner on the 3rd row of the grid, with Austin Johnson and Byron Johnson taking up a whole row to themselves. So brothers taking up a row of the grid, with Matthew Thomas, Harley Baker in what is 9th and 10th. Chloe Gleason starts race from 11th, with Jensen Bishop in 12th. Travis Shaw starts from 13th, and Taylor Thompson and Dylan Tureen started in 14th and 15th. So that is the merged qualifying results from earlier on today. And Annabelle McCarthy, Riley Paisley, Lucy Curtis and Murray Simmons and Ollie O'Gorman rounds off our grid. It's a packed grid here for race 1. It's their first race of the weekend for these guys. It's been a big build up for this race, and now they're all going to be waiting and all going to be looking on for the lights going out, where already we have some issues, and that is a slight issue with one of the motorcycles. It could be a chain issue with it being that side of the bike. We've seen it in the past that chains have came off, as now we wait to see a little check up, and now whatever the issue was, it is terminal, and now they're getting pushed off the grid. So Marco Holt, number 58, he did have the Minion helmet. Now it's a monster helmet. Will he be a monster this time around? We're going to have to wait and see. Number 58 machine on pole position. Luke Fitchett alongside him in the front row of the grid. They're both going to be wanting it. They look to the lights, and the lights go out, and we go racing as Marco Holt leads the way in a pretty nice start there. Is it too good to be true? We're going to have to wait to find out. But Luke Fitchett, second position, still a pretty good gap between the two. So right now, Mark Holt can run his own lines as Ollie O'Gorman there at the back of your picture, fighting further down the field. Lucy Curtis having their own battle with Dylan Tureen as we await for all the riders to make it through cleanly, as Taylor Tomlinson as well having a good battle, as Wilson Delts trying to make his way into second position, currently in third, as Archie O'Brien dropping down to fourth position on that first lap, as both the Byron and Austin Johnson brothers battle as well. So battles all the way throughout the field, as we expected to see, because, well, we have 20 bikes on the grid.
Absolutely chaotic first lap. I thought there'll be a few more overtakes, but happy with what we've got so far. So we end the first lap here, and we have a look towards the front of the grid here with Luke Fitchett ahead of Wilson Dilks. This battle is just finished off here by Archie O'Brien, and that's Superman helmet. He came first in the race earlier, I believe. But I think that was O'Brien having a look there on the inside of Dilks, but not doing anything just yet. They heard their way down the straight here and in towards this next corner. Just all started to tighten up and snake their way through this little S section. Down the Simpson straight we go with these riders, and we'll see if maybe we'll have an overtake in just a moment or two. We look back there you go, there's an overtake there, and I believe that is, I'm not entirely sure.
Annabelle McCarthy finding the way through on Lucy Curtis there. So some of our female riders here at FAB, it's great seeing the amount of females that we have racing here. They've been coming in force over the past couple of years. Of course, the involvement of the likes of FHO Racing has allowed more females to take part. But Marco Holt leading the way on the 58 machine. 1.9 seconds back is Luke Fitchett, as Wilson Delks continues to defend from Archie O'Brien in third position. Austin and Byron Johnson are battling for fifth and sixth, with Frankie Watson, Sam Gardner, Matthew Thomas, Chloe Gleeson rounding out our top 10 in this field. And now in the live position, Harley Baker, Travis Shaw, Jensen Bishop and Taylor Thompson, with Dylan Tureen rounding the point scoring positions. Annabelle McCarthy found her way through on Lucy Curtis, with Murray Simmons and Ollie O'Gorman rounding out our racers that are still running around the circuit, as Riley Paisley had issues on the warm-up lap with his machine. So Marco Holt leading the way, 2.3 seconds at the line, as it looks like the battle really is for second position at the moment.
Yeah, absolutely. You see all three of these bikes just in their positions right now, but I'm sure they'll be desperate to make a move there. Archie O'Brien just on the tail end of this battle, having a look to try and see if he can maybe use a different line. He looks to be out a bit wide there to then get the cut back in and maybe try and get the exit here down the Simpson straight, but I don't think it would be able to get into the last chicane. That would be a bit too rough to just try and stick into slipstream throughout these next two straights. They flick their way up the gears towards turn number one here, and they're starting to build a good lap here. Marco Holt at the moment, he's disappeared off down the road. He's almost 3 seconds ahead of Luke Fitchett in the number 7. So we continue to follow this battle of Fitchett, Dilts and O'Brien.
Yep, Marco Holt, fastest lap of the race, 46.5. But now Austin leading Byron through on the two Johnson Racing machines, and just behind them we have Frankie Watson, and that's Sam Gardner having a fall there. So Sam Gardner, disappointing from him, and that is the exhaust that he's just picked up off the ground. So very, very disappointing. That must have been a high side, or the bike must have flipped for that amount of damage to be done. But he looks okay, he is on his feet, and that is the main thing. That is the main thing which matters. matters. 8th position Sam Garner was sitting in, but Austin Johnson still leading Byron through. He was showing Byron quite a lot at the moment, but Archie O'Brien trying to find any way through Wilson Dilts. And now this is the thing about these bikes, you really have to find an opening early on in the corner, because almost every single corner around the circuit seems to close up and lines start to merge.
Yeah, there's definitely ways to try and get past your opponent, but it's all about knowing the circuit well. That's also one thing, and especially maybe making a move to one side to then try and make it a couple of corners then down the road. We see the two Johnson brothers maybe doing a little bit of mind games here to try and maybe block off Watson there in behind, I believe that is. They have followed through now, heading now down towards the Simpson Straight. I think that's O'Gorman there ahead of moving to one side. Oh, that's a bit of a tight one there. So I think Frankie Watson will now be held up. No, there goes O'Gorman to the right hand side.
Yep, Ollie O'Gorman getting out of the way for these riders as Austin Johnson still leads the way with Byron behind, and a great ride from Frankie Watson. We've seen it a couple of times last year that he could just shine at certain circuits, and this seems to be one of them. Can we see it for the rest of the year? We're going to have to wait and find out. We'll have the full seasons of coverage of the FAB-Racing Minibike British Championship on the platform which you're currently watching on the Motorsport Radio Facebook and YouTube channel, and the FAB-Racing Facebook and YouTube channel. If you're joining us, you've joined us midway through the Mini GP 50 race 1 for these guys, with Wilson Dilts right now defended from Archie O'Brien and defending for the final spot on the podium position. Luke Fitchett has managed to bridge the gap ever so slightly. 1.1 seconds is the gap between this duo of riders. So Luke Fitchett leading out the way in second position, with Marco Holt still dominant at the front.
Yeah, so there's about a 4.5 second gap between Holt and Fitchett, but I'm pretty sure the number 7 will not be focusing on the race win. He'll be just trying to keep that second place and trying to grab the most points possible from that one there. There's one of the riders getting lapped there, but our main focus here is the battle between Dilts and O'Brien. The Superman in the Superman helmet. They're looking to try and latch onto the back of our number 85 of Wilson Dilton, just try and see if he can get the podium here. There'll definitely be back markers there, like the one in there, just trying to get through there, and that'll be a bit of a hold up there for Wilson Dilton, but both of them easily past there, and you see how much the gap has instantly closed up. There's about 0.6 of a second there, and then once the back marker gets involved, you can see it close right up there and making their way. And let's see if O'Brien can then get past Wilson Dilts.
Yep, currently around a 0.4 of a second gap between these two riders. It looks like just about one bike length between the two, as we'll wait to see at the line this time around. What's it going to be? 2 laps to go remain in this motorcycle race, as Wilson Dilts and Archie O'Brien are separated by just 0.2 of a second. He's managed to close it in even further than what we originally thought. So a great run there. So Wilson Dilts still defending, still showing the way, as Marco Holt at the front still leads the way. 4.7 seconds, a little update on his gap. Austin Johnson has been overtaken by his brother Byron Johnson that time around, as these two riders last time around were lapping the likes of Annabelle McCarthy and Dylan Tureen, who are having their own battles further down the field. But there is your race leader. There is Marco Holt, who will lead the way onto this last lap of the race. He passes Travis Shaw to take the last lap flag. He comes across Ollie O'Gorman. He sits up a little bit, trying to find any way past. He picks round the outside. Can he make it work? It's just one lap. It's just to bring it home at this point. Marco Holt, he's been through a lot. He had a leg injury last season. He broke his leg after a crash in Spain. It destroyed his championship hopes here in Britain, and now he powers it out through to keep them hopes alive this year. He comes around the straight run towards the S's, and then powers his Metrikit 50cc machine through the gearbox before shifting it back down again. It's a great circuit for these motorcycles. It's a great testing track for these riders. It's tight, it's twisty, and now Marco Holt, he's came out on top in it. He comes across to take the race win. Number 1 signal goes up in the air. The checker flag is waiting for him, and wow, he'll be happy with that one. Punching the bike and hitting the bike in celebration, saying well done for it. Luke Fitchett comes home in second, with Wilson Dilts in third, as now the battle continues, as there's Austin Johnson with an issue, it appears. They're trying trying to get the bike out the corner. He was not in the power band at all. He's allowed Frankie Watson through, and now Byron Johnson, he's bet his brother, so is Frankie Watson, and Austin Johnson goes from 5th to 7th. So disappointing from him there, but great race.
Yeah, so brilliant there race overall. Marco Hull is your winner in that one. Luke Fitchett on the podium. He'll be joined alongside Wilson Dills. Archie O'Brien just a second short on that one, with Byron Johnson ahead of Frankie Watson. Austin Johnson, unfortunately, with that issue at the end of the race, he'll be 7th ahead of Matthew Thomas, Harley Baker and Chloe Gleeson. Jensen Bishop will be in 11th ahead of Travis Shaw, with Taylor Tomlinson, Dylan Toren and Annabelle McCarthy finishing off the points.
Yep, so a superb race there. A great ride there from Marco Holt, and a dominant ride there from him. Nobody can stop him but himself. I think it's going to be things that are going to come later on in the weekend. Disappointing race once again from Sam Gardner, having it off and crashing out of the race. So two races in a row really it's been from Sam Gardner, so hopefully he can get things sorted for tomorrow's run of racing. But do not leave us just yet. We have 3 more races remaining here today at the Red Lodge karting circuit, and I'm going to tell you now, it's going to be a cracker.
Oh, absolutely. We're looking at the sidecars as well as the PB, the Pure Bike Pit Bike 140 and the Mini GP 70. So, of course, don't miss those races there. You can see our cameras now focusing on the side bikes, and this is going to be the first race we have of these intriguing and wonderful machines.
So now the riders waiting in the holding area at the moment. Some new sidecar entries this weekend. It's great to see for them coming around, and clearly seeing the coverage here at FAB-Racing and thinking, I want to have a shot of that. And if you are thinking that right now at home, head over to the FAB-Racing website and potentially have a little look at your mental state, because these guys are insane and these guys are very, very impressive to watch on the circuit. The amount of shapes that they pull into the corners is impressive, and still to be able to fit even 2 riders, 2 adults onto these bikes is crazy to watch. Never mind do the lap times that they're doing, and do the lap times that McWilliams is doing. Can he repeat his success, which he's done for so many years now? But as I was saying, if you do want to compete on this grid, head over to the FAB-Racing website, contact them there, or contact any one of these riders in the paddock, and I'm sure they'll want to help you out. But Iona Glover, she returns this round after a crash that Wilson Mill last year. It was a nasty crash. There was a lot of drama as well at the start of the day. A massive pile, 4 sidecars, 4 outfits were involved in that. The MPs, I believe, flipped over, but everyone looks to make their way for the start of this race. So a packed fields in the sidecars.
Yeah, absolutely. Really looking forward to this one. This is the first time we're going to be seeing these sidecars going for it side by side in anger, and I'm really looking forward to it. Mick Williams there on pole position, ahead of the Green Street riders alongside. But I think there'll be some really good battles, especially in the midfield. But there will be some riders building their confidence in this one. So it'll be a real mix of going for it, and a few of them still building their confidence from some of them on their debut weekend.
Yep, confidence building weekend for some. Championship changing weekend for some, potentially. We don't know what's going to happen. Anything can happen. There could be mechanicals, there could be mistakes, but whatever the case, there's going to be drama, because this is the Mini F1 sidecars class. It is crazy to watch, crazy racing. It is bashing racing, it's head banging racing, and now we go racing. It's going to be McWilliams who leads the way into turn 1 from the green streets. Vince Bailey and Amy Tolbruck are in third place at the moment, as they are off the line is the Impes and the Keats, both having their own issues off the start. But Mick Williams leading the way, and straight away the green streets are not letting them get away, as John Hosker is in 5th place at the moment. A good start there on the 127 machine, as green streets has a little look there, but no way through at all, as this circuit, it's so tight, it's so twisty, it's near impossible to make a clean move move in this sidecar class because they're so big, and at some sections of the circuit they take up probably half of it.
Yeah, that's honestly ridiculous. See her in that. There goes that's a little move there for the back of the field there. But we follow these riders now, making their way through the final corner. You just see the number 11 there of Jamie Alexander there through the turn one. They go to the battle of 4 and all through the inside, all the 3 wide. Whoa, that was close for comfort there between all 3 of those. That's 3 wide going into that corner. How close is that?
Very, very close. You can't get any closer than that, but the Keats know it, and the Keats had a little look behind to say that was pretty close, wasn't it? But now Impey round the outside, showing what they can do, and Keats say, no you're not, and pushes them wide, pushes them near the tyre wall. I'm sure the Impeys are going to want to get their own back later on in this race. Actually, it looks like he's playing a bit of the throttle there, so he's trying to get the bike in the power band, trying to get as much power as possible out of that, because you can see the gap that's been made down the Simpson Straight. But the 666 machine of the Keats are one to watch. They have a wild riding style, to say the least. They like to keep things on the edge and keep us on the edge of our seats, as Mick Williams at the front, 1.4 seconds at the line, so doing what they do best, as this battle is certainly starting here. I think Impey is going to look round the outside again, or round the inside even. Down the inside they go, and they force the likes of the Keats to sit up, and now right in front of them is Iona Glover. Can they find a way through as well? No, the Keats! Oh! Massive crash there from the Keats, and a little wave there, so
doesn't look good.
Massive crash there. They made contact with the rear end of the sidecar outfit, but at the front there is Mick Williams. We carry on at the moment as a red flag. But Mick Williams leading the way. They have a look around of the circuit at the moment.
There you go, red flag.
Red flag.
So red flag is out. The session will be stopped. So I'm pretty sure they'll just stop on the circuit at a certain point.
Yep. Pretty hefty crash there. They just great entertainment so far, though. Up to that point, it was the sidecar outfits were bashing against each other, and the Keats just seemed to make contact with the rear end of the MP as they tried to get their own back. The MP, though, it looked like there's some great pace through that back end of the circuit. We've seen it twice in a row, 2 laps in a row. The fact that they went around the outside and then went down the inside. So incredible pace for that back section of the circuit, and clearly something to watch for this restart later on today.
Yeah, there were some great battles out there, and I've been really enjoying the action so far. But that was a really unfortunate accident for that number 666. So it's at the moment Mick Williams ahead of the Green Street number 90 vehicle with Vince Bailey and Amy Tolbruck. They're currently sitting in the podium spots in their third weekend of sidecars. Mark Palmer in P4 ahead of John Hosker, and the MP car of the 457 currently in P6. Iona Glover in P7, Adam Jarvis in P8, Jamie Alexander in P9, and then our unfortunate retirement of the Keats car.
Yep, well, the riders right now waiting to head out. There is the number 11 machine of Jamie Alexandra and Martin Hills. And we spoke to them earlier, so let's hear from them and what they were thinking heading into their first weekend here at FAB. So we're here with one of our new outfits this weekend in the sidecar class, the number 11 outfit. So first of all, guys, what are your names for everyone listening at home?
I'm Jamie Alexander.
Martin Hills.
And what has made you guys come here to FAB to race them in the F1 sidecar?
Well, we saw a couple go around. My brother's a bike instructor, and he mates with Mike M's, and we got introduced that way, so we saw it, thought we'd give it a go.
And what one of you guys are the passenger here?
And lucky, mine.
Yeah.
And I believe you guys haven't even sat on the Mini F1 sidecar properly yet.
No, not even done 10 yards on it yet.
And have you had any racing experience yourself?
I've done race cars, quads, go-karts before, and just thought we'd try something a bit more fun and lower budget.
And so we're here, and Martin, yourself, you're the passenger this weekend. How are you feeling going into it?
Fine at the moment. I'm a bit nervous on the grid.
And have you had any racing experience yourself?
I've done a bit of motocross, and that's about it, really. Go-karting.
And what are you expecting this weekend here at FAB?
No idea. Absolutely no idea.
And with the class, I'm sure you've probably watched some of it at home, either at the circuit or on your phones. So what have you guys seen from this class so far this year that's really made you want to step into it?
It just looks like good fun. Looks like a giggle. It's a real community in the pit. Yeah, it just seems like a good thing to get into, really. So thought we'd give it a go.
And the circuit itself, Red Lodge, you've not had a go, I don't believe, to actually go on the track just yet, but just looking at it from an outsider's perspective, what do you make of the circuit?
Looks like a nice, well made out circuit. Yeah, well facilities. Nothing to... It looks good.
And have you got any aims for this weekend?
Stay on.
Well, I wish you the best of luck and I hope you have a lot of fun.
Thank you very much.
Thank you.
So you join us at the end of our red flag period. Both the Keats are up on their feet. There's a thumbs up a moment ago, so it's great to see that they're back in the paddock and back walking away from that one, because it was quite a hefty incident. Their sidecar outfit flipped and it didn't look like the best.
Yeah, it wasn't too nice to see. But they're both currently in at the 10. But looking back to that accident, it was definitely, it was a bad one because of the way it flipped, and then of course one of them just lying on the floor for quite a while. So I'm pretty sure we're going to get a restart very, very soon. About 5 laps to go with that one. So once we get the race direction, will be once we go green, and the race direction had decided what will happen, which will probably be a restart. We will be getting 5 laps from the grid, which I believe. Is that correct?
Yep, that is correct. The riders waiting in the holding area at the moment. These sidecars have very, very small fuel tanks, so they can't really extend the races too much. They might even most likely just head to the grid and get going. Not with the size of the fuel tank, so we're gonna have to wait and see. You can already see some riders in later on races they waiting. So yeah, the riders here at FAB, FAB in general, they do a great job at keeping everyone safe, keep the racing flowing. So thanks to all the marshals, medics and the officials here at FAB-Racing. They always do a great job over our 8-round championship that we have this year. The sidecars will of course be at every single one of them this year, and they'll be providing great action, because up to that red flag, what a great battle we were seeing there further down the order.
Oh yeah, definitely. I really, this is probably my first experience of watching sidecars. I've seen a couple of clips of there online, but when you really get to trackside, you get to see them on a screen. I promise you, it is so cool watching these guys at work. Even if they're just semi-professionals, these guys are absolutely working their nuts off, and it's absolutely amazing to see.
Yep, and here's what happened. The Keats looked up the inside and they hit the MP's rear tyre at quite an awkward angle, and it was just such of an angle that it sent them veering right and then touching the tyre ever so slightly, and then down and flipping they went. But the Keats were back up on their feet a couple of minutes ago. A thumbs up they gave to the crowd watching on and worrying for them. But now back on the grid is the sidecar boys and girls, and we await to see what's going to happen in this run. Mick Williams makes his way back onto the pole position. Can he convert it into a race win? He's definitely going to have to wait longer. There's a little wave to the camera, does Amy Tolbruck. So great to see the riders taking part in the coverage here today, trying to get a bit more airtime for themselves. And 5-lap restart coming up, and I can't wait.
Oh, definitely, me neither. I really think we're going to get a bit of country. We saw the grid kind of splitting off, started to expand a bit, but I do think it's now only 5 laps. They're going to definitely start. So here we go with the race side's about to get underway, and we go racing. Oh no, number 90, that's the Green Street car that they stalled on the grid. So when we now watch Mick Williams making his way through turn 1 and 2, he will lead ahead of the I think that was the number 369 of Vince Bailey and Amy Tolbruck.
Yep, it was a disastrous start from the Green Streets. Jason and Leo Greenstreet will be very, very disappointed with that, but there is Mick Williams, there is the race leaders, and look at the gap that they're already making for themselves. Vince Bailey and Amy Tolbruck all the way down there at the dash, so maybe a slight issue there from them, but the number 90 of Jason and Leo Greenstreet, it's just going to be a race where they're going to have to try and get back into that second position and see what they can do, because already they're letting the race leaders and the winner of last time out in the final round of the championship, the winner of last year's championship at Williams, run away. They're so quick when they get out on their own, so I'm sure Jason and Leo Greenstreet, with their sidecar experience that they have now, they'll know that, and they'll know it's going to be a tough ask as Vince Bailey runs wide there onto two wheels. They go off the free, and I'm sure Amy is telling them to hurry up, sometimes to give them a little tap, a little hit on the back to tell them to get a move on and tell them to get this race going. Mick Williams fastest lap of the race, a 36.605 last time around, while the likes of Jason and Leo Greenstreet are doing 38.1s. So already from the first lap, Mick Williams dominant.
Yeah, absolutely. Like we thought it was going to be, but I didn't think it would be this margin. As you said, Jason and Leo Greenstreet do really well to make their way up to the grid. They stalled on that grid, and I thought, oh no, they're going to be falling right back. But they've already made their way up to second place. We've seen a move there from the John Hosker in the 127. Oh, sorry, that's wrong on me. The 457, that's the MP car. So just correcting myself, they're heading towards the final corner. They're currently sitting in P6 at the moment.
Yeah, currently in P6, a good ride for them at the moment, but Jason and Leo Greenstreet still in that second position, made their way after a terrible start. He started in second, dropped all the way down to 7th, and now back in second place. So a great recovery there from them, but that is Chris and Robert Impey making their way into 4th place now. John Hosker in 5th on the 127 machine, in 5th place. So there is Mick Williams. Slight issue with the transponder in these opening laps, showing that they're down in 9th, but the crew in the lead, and there is a smoke pulling out the back of the 75 machine of Adam Jarvis and Alan. They come over to the side of the circuit. Hopefully that's more steam and not a complete blow up. So hopefully nothing is on the circuit, but we're going to have to wait and find out. So that was the 75 machine, and now we are on the last lap of the race, and there is your race leader, Mick Williams, making his way through on Iona Glover on the last sector of the circuit before they make their way towards the line. They come towards the final corner, and then they make their way past Jamie Alexander, but it's going to be Mick Williams who wins this sidecar race, this mini F1 sidecar race win once again in dominant fashion across 5 laps. It's Mick Williams. Jason Leo Greenstreet's into second position, 2.1 seconds. So now Mick Williams seems to be carrying on full pace, so potentially they might have not seen the checker flag. The checker flag could have been late because they're still motoring on, it seems. They're still pushing, and they're still looking like they're powering towards the race lead. Yes, they are. They're not heading back into pit lane. Look at them go now into the final corner. Once again, it's Mick Williams for the second time to take the checker flag.
There we go.
Once again, they've technically won the race twice, if you think about it, across the checkered flag twice, but of course they weren't sure, so they came across it twice, and they won't of course get any penalty for that. Slight misjudgment from someone there. So Mick Williams, winner of the race, 2.1 seconds at the line, and there is the 75 machine of Adam Jarvis and Alan getting a push from the MP, so that's great to see.
Yeah, that's fantastic sportsmanship. But Mick Williams, that was a dramatic race. A red flag and a late checkered flag. So Mick Williams there taking his 7th win of the season, and then the Greenstreet car in the number 90, followed by Vince Bailey and Amy Tolbruck taking P3. So a podium for them in their 3rd meeting. Then comes the 4th is Mark Parker, ahead of the MP car. John Hosker ahead of Jamie Alexander, Iona Glover, and then Adam Jarvis with a DNF alongside the Keats car.
So you can see the 75 outfit getting a push at the moment, and actually one of the MPs stepping on into the passenger seat for that one to help them give a push back. But great race there from the sidecars, and they'll be back on track for tomorrow for 2 races. But stick with us because we've still got the final 2 races of the day coming up. So now coming up is the Pit Bike 140s, the first race of the weekend for these guys. Plenty of action to come up, plenty of drama with such a packed field. We've seen all the way throughout the weekend that drama's been unfolding lap after lap. Lucas Brown looking incredibly strong. There'll be no Taylor Lawrence on the grid. Chris Wells on the 62 machine will join Lucas Brown on the front row of the grid, with Reese Peacock starting in third. Liam Wood will join him in fourth position, but we'll wait for the full grid very soon because we still have 21 bikes on this grid, as Taylor Lawrence gives them a little clap and tells them to get a move on out onto the racetrack, where Lucas Brown takes his slot in pole position on the number 7 machine. Chris Wells, his rival all weekend, it seems to be following each other in qualifying, in second place. Reese Peacock starts in third with Liam Wood alongside him. Cameron Sewell, the pole setter last time around, starts in fifth with Sean Whitaker, Darren Anderson, Zach Tureen, and Josh Bisonte starting in 9th with Keaton Payne in 10th. James Ratcliffe starting in 11th with Bailey Lawrence, Matthew Lindley and Joshua French in 13th and 14th. And Bradley Ferreira starts in 15th, round out the point scoring positions if it was a race. And Shannon King, Ben Ridwell, Jason Ferreira and Robert Baldock starts in 19th, with Aston Dean and Charlie Eaglin starting in 20th and 21st. But if you've got a pit bike, this is the place to be here at FAB Racing. Live coverage across all 3 races for these guys this weekend. It's a packed grid, and no wonder why. It's competitive, it's cheap, but it's fun, and we await to see what's going to happen. Lucas Brown begins this race from pole position, and I believe some final people sought into position on the grid.
Yeah, definitely. We're still missing, it looks like a couple of riders. Oh no, that's like Toran in that grid slot. I thought that was missing. So we're going to be going on our formation lap there. I think that Chris Wells giving us a little bit of a nod there towards Lucas Brown. So they're just having a quick chit chat before putting the visors down. A little come on there from Lucas Brown, as we see now they're about to get underway, and there we go for the formation lap. So they'll get their insight lap here now, and they will be using the full circuit. So there you go, tight turn 2, and we follow the grid around these sweeping and tight left and right handers through 180.
Yep, so the first race of the weekend is coming up. Overcast conditions for these guys at 5 o'clock in the evening. It's going to be Lucas Brown who begins it on pole position. Lucas Brown's going to be trying everything to keep Chris Wells behind him. Chris Wells, he's been looking so strong. They've been following each other quite a lot in qualifying. It's been interesting to watch it play out, but off the circuit, all these riders always have a laugh and talk about what happens. No matter what happens in this race, they'll all still be coming out this weekend with a smile on their face, I can tell you that much. But Lucas Brown, he'll be wanting to convert his pole position into a race when it was impressive lap time. A lot of commitment on these slick tyres. Of course, Lucas Brown, he's raced in the British Talent Cup in the past, and now we await for the final couple of riders to make their way onto the grid to start this race. No with Taylor Lawrence, but there is Bailey Lawrence. Can Bailey Lawrence follow in the footsteps of her older brother Taylor to compete for wins in the Pit Bike 140 class? Final checks being done on the grid. Final checks being done to the machines. The revs build, and now we go racing, and Lucas Brown leaks away from turn 1. Reese Peacock tries his luck down the inside that turn 1, drops down to 4th position now. Does Reese Peacock. Chris Wells still in 2nd place, but after a great start, it's going to be Liam Wood who finds his way up the order. The 1-1-2 machine of Keaton Payne almost losing it there over the curb. He went and almost into the tyre wall, but just behind him, Bailey Lawrence, but at the front, leading the way, it's Lucas Brown, and Lucas Brown leads the way by about 4 bike lengths over Chris Wells. So a great start from him, a very, very consistent start, but Reese Peacock still trying to defend, still trying to do absolutely everything that he can at the moment from Liam Wood.
So yeah, brilliant start there from from our leader. They made their way now down the main straight to start the second lap of this race in a little battle there of 4 bikes in the back row. We're heading towards turn number 1, and Chris Wells is just going to try and do everything he can to try and start getting onto the back of Lucas Brown. But Lucas Brown will be really gunning for that first victory of the season. He'll be defending from Chris Wells, who's already won a race back at Lid a couple of weeks ago. So they make their way now down the straight run, and following in behind that, I believe that's Reese Peacock and Liam Woods in the battle for P3. But look at this. This is a battle of 4 bikes, and I think that's of 5, 6, 7, and 8. And I think that's I'm not entirely sure.
Yep, so at the moment, Cameron Sill leading this battle for 5th position. Darren Anderson just behind him, and at the back of this field it is Zach Tureen. Zach Tureen, a busy weekend for himself. A lot of time on the circuit, a lot of time on these pit bike style machines. But Lucas Brown, fastest lap of the race, a 47.7, and extending his gap to 7/10 of a second. But Cameron still nothing separating himself right now and Darren Anderson. Darren Anderson trying to find any way past. Will he make it? Will he line up a move down into this long sweeping left-hander at the end of the straight run, the longest straight of the circuit? Will be tipping now into the S's. After this we will go, and Cameron Sill, our pole position man last time out, in 5th position. The start of this season's been going very well from him, same as Chris Wells in 2nd place at the moment. Is going onto the grass there is the likes of Darren Anderson. So Darren Anderson dropping onto the grass. We've seen how competitive he's been in Moto Team in the past couple of seasons, but missing the gear there slightly, having a slight issue with his gear lever there on the straight. But he's got all sorted now, and away he goes. The AMR machine of Sean Whittaker looks down the inside. Sean Whittaker also very quick in the Moto Team class. It's a battle of the Moto Teams in the Pit By 140 races there. Sean Whittaker passed through Darren Anderson. Now he runs wide, like Zach Tureen through. Zach Tureen also now throwing them. So in 1 lap, Darren Anderson has dropped all the way from 6th position to 8th. As there is Bailey Lawrence crashing there. So Bailey Lawrence trying to get remounted, trying to get the bike kick-started, and away hopefully she'll go again. Slight contact must have been made there between the 2 riders. She tries to find neutral. It's so tricky on these bikes. You have to check, you have to find them, you have to roll the bike, and it takes about 50 attempts, as it does in these pressure scenarios. As they're at the front, the gap is only 2/10 now.
Yeah, still really close between Brown and Wells. They head now down towards the Warren and back on towards the back straight. Chris Wells with the fastest lap of the race with a 47.23 ahead of Lucas Brown's most latest lap time. So I think Wells might have the confidence here to try and nip it down the inside, but of course he's still got to try and keep an eye on what Lucas Brown is doing, because I think maybe Brown might be a bit more starting to build his confidence here. They make their way now down into turn number 1 and turn number 2. They'll see if maybe Wells might go look down the inside here, and I think he has done. He has. I know Brown tried to go around the outside of the back marker, and that has really cost him here. Chris Wells leads the pit bike 140 class.
Yep, Lucas Brown couldn't get the bike tipped in. I was just waiting to find any clear piece of track through that back marker. That corner's so strange. I can completely understand why he's done it. He's done a little wave to Chris Wells, trying to grab his rear end, trying to grab his rear fairing, his seat in it, but no luck for him that time around. They like to have a good laugh on the circuit while they're racing. Racing's furious, but they still have a complete smile and having a joke and a laugh under his helmet. But yeah, at the front, it was Lucas Brown last time around. Now it's Chris Wells. Lucas Brown, he tried to go around the outside because out of that corner, going down the inside of anyone, whether it be a back marker or battling for positions, the 2 lines merge and usually ends up in an incident. So Lucas Brown used his head and took the cleanest route he can think of. But now Lucas Brown down the inside at the 180 corner. They push Shannon King wide. And now Chris Wells loses that 1st position. He drops down to 2nd. Will there be any waving on the straight this time around? Chris Wells having a little look behind them, checking that no one's going to interfere through these next couple of corners. But now we're approaching even more back markers. 5 laps remaining in this race. Can Lucas Brown find any way past?
Yeah, it's been so close between these two. Chris Wells and Lucas Brown going really at it, hammer and tongs, as they come round the last corner. Lucas Brown now leads the way ahead of Chris Wells, but Wells be really wanting to try and get that place back from Lucas Brown. So head down their way through these sweeping corners, through snaking their way through 180 degrees, and they're still tyre to tyre. They make their way down the hill through the crest, and they'll make their way up the run towards this sweeping section of the back hills, and they'll snake their way in towards the tightening corners of the flip-flap.
Yep, now we await to see through the S's they go now. Lucas Brown leading the way. Lucas Brown showing Chris Wells how it's done at the moment. I'm sure Chris Wells, though, looking down the inside there, but no way through. The lines tighten up far too much for you to ever make a move around the outside there. So now Lucas Brown leading the way. A modern riding style there from him. 3 laps to go in this race. Fastest lap of the race, waiting to him last time around, the 47.222, and 3.3 of a second up the road. He was at the line last time around. So Lucas Brown, what can he do with 3 laps to go? Well, you have to stay on the edge of your sofa and find out.
Oh, this is absolutely brilliant, Lewis. Lucas Brown with the fastest lap at the moment they took last time out. But I think again, a back marker getting in the way there of both Wells and Brown now here. So Brown having to take the inside. Look how close it is. I think Chris Wells might have this round the outside with the momentum. He's gonna take it. Chris Wells once again leads, and who can he now take his second win of the season? But it won't be easy with Lucas Brown now still all over the rear. They're still front tyre to back tyre. They're absolutely separated by a sheet of paper.
Yep, Lucas Brown is trying to line up any move possible. He might even try to line up a move into this 180 corner. It's not somewhere where you'd expect to overtake ever, but you can just see the wire lines taking out a turn 2, trying to set himself up for about 3 corners later. It's what you have to do around this circuit. But Chris Wells now leading the way. More back markers coming into play though. Lucas Brown to chop the throttle off last time around. Will Chris Wells have to do the same this time around? Luckily he will not, and now they cleanly race on to the last lap. It'll be at the line this time around. Lucas Brown in the chase on the number 7 machine, chasing the 62 of Chris Wells at the line. 1/10 of a second led them. You can see Lucas Brown a wider line once again during turn 2, a later apex, firing it out through on the fat part of the tyre, on the throttle, wide open towards the 180 corner. He'll take a wider line once again, and a slightly tighter line through the exit, so he doesn't have to have as much lean angle getting over to the other side of the circuit. But now we power it through the back straight, we power it through the straight run towards the S's. A little bit of smoke coming out of Lucas's Brown tyre there, running slightly wide, a late apex for him there. Out the S's they come now, towards the Simpson straight, towards the final sector. Can Chris Wells do it? Can Chris Wells hold on? It looks like it, unless if Lucas Brown can find some. But Chris Wells is going to win after a drag race to the line in the Pit Bike 140 race. What a race that was, though. Give each other a handshake, give each other a fist bump for that one, because I'm sure they both loved every single second of that. Chris Wells and Lucas Brown first and second, Reese Peacock in third, and Cameron Sewell finishing in fourth.
Oh, brilliant! Taking his second race of the season here. Chris Wells ahead of Lucas Brown. Reese Peacock joining that brilliant battle on the podium, just ahead of Cameron Sewell. Liam Wood there in 5th place, ahead of Sean Whisker. Lovely wheelie there from our winner. And then going down the rest of the top 10, Liam Wood, Sean Whisker, Zach Turin, Darren Anderson, Keaton Payne and Joshua French. Then finishing off with the points finishers, Matthew Lindsay ahead of Josh Bissonnetti, James Ratcliffe, Bradley Ferrer and Ben Ridgewell. Jason Ferreira in P16 ahead of Shannon King in the number 71 on the number 71 bike. Robert Baldock and in 18th ahead of Ashton Dean and Charlie Eagling. And Bailey Lawrence rounding out the 21 riders here for the Pit Bike 140 class.
So a great race there for the Pit Bike 140 guys and girls. Bailey Lawrence managing to remount there as you see Luke Fitch's dad making his way to the middle of the circuit. But now we await for the next class, the final race of the day, to make the way to the circuit. So now it is time for the LS2 Helmets Mini GP70 British Championship. It's the one everyone's been waiting for all day. It's the premier class here at FAB, and these are the talents of the future waiting in the holding area and waiting to go out to the track. So these riders waiting to make their way onto the circuit for what should be an incredible race ahead in qualifying. It was a fantastic qualifying to end off our qualifying for the weekend, because of course your qualifying results here at FAB will be your starting position for all 3 races this weekend. You can see the pole position, man. You can see Archie O'Brien, the number 91, the Spider-Man helmet, waiting and watching until they can head out for the start of the race. Tensions built here as it's only a 9-bike grid, but what a race we are going to see. So much talent is packed into this 9-bike field. There's not one slow rider here. We see that at Lid it was like a Moto 3 race, and hopefully, just hopefully, we can see that happen all over again. There's pole sitter Archie O'Brien. Alongside him in second position will be the number 7, Luke Fitchett. A 1:45.7 from Fitchett in qualifying. A great lap there from him, but Blake Wilson and Marco Holt will be on the second row of our grid, with Bill Harris and Harry Payne in 6th and 7th, and Ollie Sims and Austin Johnson rounding off our grid. So I don't know about you, but Adam, but I cannot wait for this one.
No, absolutely me neither. I'm so excited to see these stars of tomorrow out here on the Red Lodge kart circuit. They've been absolutely they've been getting their laps in. They've been on it absolutely every single session, even in the Friday rain pour that they had. We had a little bit. They were definitely out there trying to learn anything about this circuit.
Yep, they certainly were, and now the riders are trying to learn anything they can on the warm-up lap about the current track conditions, because this is the big one. This is the one that everyone wants to win. This is the one that sets up the talents for the future. We've seen the likes of Casey O'Gorman, Josh Watley, Scott Ogden battling for this title, and even Evan Belford now. They're all going on to do great and wonderful things. It's the real building blocks, the real stepping stones for your future racing career. Archie O'Brien, he looks ready. The revs rise, they pin it, and then they release it, and Luke Fitchett and Marco Holt are going to be the first two leading the way. Luke Fitchett, though, manages to get that drive off the line. Archie O'Brien dropping all the way down to 4th position. He's still struggling with his starts on the 50 and the 70 machine. He seems to have practically mastered the 50, but still some work to do on the 70, that is clear. Bill Harris there having a battle with Ollie Sims and Harry Payne further down the order, but Luke Fitchett leading the way, leading this huge bunch of riders. 5 riders in this front leading battle, this front leading group, with Archie O'Brien having quite a lot of work to do, and that he's only given himself that.
Yeah, absolutely. Not a brilliant start, not an ideal start there for O'Brien in the Spider-Man helmet. They make their way now in towards the final corner of this circuit, and onto the second lap. We head now down towards the main straight. The bikes zip past us and in towards turn number 2 there. I think that was Blake Wilson, trying to make a move there on sorry, that was my mistake. Blake Wilson, no, it wasn't.
Yeah, Blake Wilson in 3rd at the moment, trying to make a move. You were correct there. But Marco Holt in 2nd at the moment, trying to find any way past Luke Fitchett on that number 7 machine. Slightly new colour scheme for Luke Fitchett this year, but still the same amount of speed. Marco Holt, 2nd position. He's trying to find any way past, coming back from injury, and he's looking incredibly strong. No Henry McCartney, it seems, this round here at Red Lodge, but still the same amount of action as now the front 5 turn to the front 4. Who can match the pace? Who can match the pace of a 45.962 from Luke Fitchett? What a lap time that was there. 3/10 at the line. It's definitely not that now. It's definitely shorter now, but Blake Wilson on the number 8 machine, getting followed by Archie O'Brien, who still, after 1 or 2 laps, hasn't made any inroads on the likes of Fitchett.
No, absolutely. They're still going right at it there. That's Archie O'Brien there at the back, still trying to make a move there on the number 8 rider of Blake Wilson. They're heading now in towards the S's, flip-flapping their way out towards Simpson Straight. And Marco Holt there in 2nd place, trying to make inroads on Luke Fitchett. But Fitchett is really out there. He's doing really well at the moment to just hold that lead to about 0.3 of a second ahead of the number 58. They're into turn 2 they go. And again, still trying to make moves on the inside and trying to distract their opponent, but I'm sure they'll have all eyes laser focused on the bike ahead.
Yep, laser focus indeed. As Luke Fitchett, he has clear track in front of him. He has his own lines to follow, his own braking markers to follow, and he has a raging Marco Holt behind him. Can he hold the pressure? Can he hold the position? Can he hold this pace? A 45.6 is now the lead pace. That's what you need to do to stay in this lead group. And you can already see Blake Wilson slightly dropping back after doing a 45.7 last time around. It's a very, very quick pace. And now we come over the start-finish line, and once again the battle's very, very close. 0.2 of a second that line this time around. The lap record around this circuit is a 43.941, so still quite a little bit off, but it is overcast here today, and that is set by Wilson Doubts, the 5th place man actually. Wilson Doubts has set that, of course, last year. Sunny conditions we had at this circuit, not that great today, but no rain. Dry running for everyone, and that's what we love to see. Is we get to see these great battles, these great groups, as Archie O'Brien continues to drop back with Blake Wilson. So it seems Blake Wilson is struggling to keep the pace of these front runners, and it looks like O'Brien's going to have to find a way past pretty soon to be able to compete for these front two positions.
Yeah, absolutely. I just saw Wilson. I think he made a little bit of an error there, a little bit of twitch from the bike there, and Archie O'Brien is absolutely all over him, but he needs to try and get past that number 8, because he's starting to now lose a bit of time there behind the number 8 of Wilson, joining back with this battle. Fitcher still holding off Holt, so I think Marco Holt will have this. He got a great launch off the start of the grid there, but that's really earned him 2nd place for now. But can he do anything to try and get into this lead? And we now focus on our black bike of Archie O'Brien.
So I was looking at Blake Wilson at the moment, and it looks like he has some sort of issue with his gear shifter, or just the way that the bike's getting clicked into gear. And you can see it whenever he's downshifting, especially. He has to keep the bike almost upright, it seems, and it's mainly the back section circuit he's doing it. As we'll watch him do it. He's done it almost every single lap, so I don't think it was a mistake there from him. I think there's either a slight mechanical or a slight niggling issue that he needs to get around and ride around. As they come down the back straight now, we watch Blake Wilson and we wait to see him set up the bike ever so slightly just in the second half of this corner. He comes round, and then once he backshifts here, he has to properly set up the bike to be able to get that bike clicked into gear and get that bike clicked down the gear compared to all the other riders. So he's potentially losing some time there.
Yeah, so that's really unfortunate there. So that'll be costing him a good couple of seconds throughout each. That's 5 laps left remaining as Archie O'Brien now sets the fastest lap in that number 91. So they're all now starting to bunch up. So I think that might be because maybe something to do with these leaders at the moment with the Fitcher and Holt. Holt's still on the back of Fitchett, so he might be just trying to pressurize him into a mistake. Keep Fitchett looking behind him, not laser scanned on the road ahead of him. The Holt there, maybe try a different line here, looking to the outside, but not quite poking that tyre inside just yet. I think he's going to save that for a couple of laps later. Luke Fitchett making his way towards the final chicane, powering now out of the corner, and I think Holt's looking now to try and get past. Once again, we now switch to Harry Payne and Austin Johnson. This is the battle for 8th place, I believe.
Yeah, so at the moment, having the battle further down the order there, but now we await to see what's going to happen at the front. What's going to happen with this lead group? 4 laps to go in this race. Luke Fitchett leading the way on the number 7 machine. Marco Holt just behind. Blake Wilson slightly further behind, but it seems every single lap they're doing about the same lap times. If one of the riders does a 45.1, all of them do a 45.1. If the front boy, Luke Fitchett, does a 45.3, everyone else does that sort of time. So it seems that no one's really able to get the upper hand in this later stage of the race. 4 laps to go of this race. They come to the line to make it 43 laps to go, as Luke Fitchett 45.088 and everyone else doing 45.1s or 45.2s. So now, is this Luke Fitchett's chance? Has he been holding something in the locker to now show what he can do? What can Marco Holt do? Can he match it?
Well, absolutely. He looks like he has been holding on, but I think that's a mistake there from Fitchett, and through goes Holt. Holt now leads the way here at Red Lodge Circuit, and they make their way now in towards the S's. I'm pretty sure Fitchett will be absolutely kicking himself. and I think I might have been a little mistake there. I think you may have gone a bit wide there.
Oh,
he's off. Oh,
Luke Fitchett and Archie O'Brien off in the exact same style coming out of that final corner.
Oh, there's another one.
And there's something down at that final corner there.
Red flag. Someone's calling red flag.
Got to come out there. 3 riders down, oil on the circuit or some kind of substance on the circuit, causing riders to lose the rear coming out of that final turn. So
there might be someone's fuming.
So 4 bikes down there at that final corner, a massive crash there, and we await for the red flags to come out of this circuit. Red flags are out now at the Marshall post, so the riders will make their way into the pit lane. Luke Fitchett, Wilson Dilks, Harry Payne and Archie O'Brien all down at the final corner, and luckily it looks like everyone is up on their feet at the moment. Luke Fitchett there up on his feet. Everyone's wondering what's happening there. There's Danny Webb, walking over there, checking on the riders. Luke Allen as well, checking on everyone, see what's happened. The riders discussing what happened there, because something had to be on the circuit for everyone to lose the rear like that. Holly Harris doing a great job as well, pushing Archie O'Brien's bike off the circuit there, but terrible incident there, not what you want to see.
Yeah, absolutely not. That was very much came as a surprise. There might have been maybe a bit of oil or something on the circuit, because there's no way that all 4 riders can go off like that. That doesn't happen normally. Yeah. That's got to be like a few. I'm not sure of oil or leakage or.
Yeah, it had to be something on the circuit. You could just see the way that they lost the rear. Whenever you crash a bike on a substance, it's literally like riding on ice, which we're about to see now as we see a replay of this incident at this final corner. It was Mark Holt, Luke Fitchett leading the way. Mark Holt managed to escape it, but Luke Fitchett's like riding on ice, and then Archie O'Brien following him through, and you can just wait and see. Wilson Dilks will appear in, as even the marshals. Holly Harris being very, very lucky there. But Wilson Dilks trying to pick up his bike, trying to tell Rice to slow down, but it's like Rice, as Harry Payne also losing the rear there as well. So telling everyone to slow down and get this race stopped because something was on the circuit. And now we see some discussions anyway happening at its final corner to see exactly what's went on.
So, that's a very, very scary accident. That's not something you want to be seeing, especially with the way the marshals already came towards the 2 stricken bikes, and then the 2 other ones of, I believe, Harry Payne and Wilson Dilks following in. You just don't want to see that on a race circuit. So I think we're finishing off for the day. Luke Fitchett is your winner, ahead of Marco Holt. Blake Wilson will be on the podium. He's currently in P3 with Archie O'Brien in P4, Wilson Dilks P5. We had a Bill Harris, Harry Payne, Ollie Sims and Austin Johnson rounds out the 9 riders.
Yep, a great race there up to that accident, which sadly ended, but it has been brought back a lap, so it will mean the likes of Fitchett, Blake Wilson, Archie O'Brien and Wilson Dilks will classify in the result, although they were involved in the incident before the red flag has been brought back a lap due to the track conditions. But great days of racing. It's kept dry all day. Sad to end it on an incident, but it looks like, as we can see here, almost all the riders certainly up on their feet, which is great to see.
Oh yeah, that's absolutely what you want to be seeing at the end of the day. I'm really happy that there's no one being strolled away anywhere or being hidden away from the cameras with an injury. So I'm glad that at the moment we've heard that everyone is okay, up on their feet, and hopefully we'll be getting something better in race number 2, because there was such great action through there, and you kind of wanted more. You wanted to see what happened throughout that top 4 battle. That was going on for an absolute age. That was going through the whole entire race between Fitchett. Holt went down the inside, which is absolutely great to see. But that's not the way you wanted to end it on. But I'm sure we'll be seeing some fantastic action in race 2. And please do join us for race 2 and race 3 tomorrow on Sunday's broadcast coverage.
Yep, 30 races coming up tomorrow. Track conditions looking very, very good. Weather looking incredibly good. Around 20 degrees we're expecting here tomorrow at the Red Lodge circuit. So join us on the Motorsport Radio Facebook and YouTube channels, and the FAB-Racing Facebook and YouTube channels, where you get to see all this racing and more. So we'll be posting highlights and clips from the first round of the championship. You can go rewatch the first and second round of the championship, which was held at the Lid Kart circuit. It was a double header round. It was a fantastic battle. If you want to watch more of these MotoGP 70s, or of course you can wait until tomorrow and join us then. So thanks so much for tuning in here today on today's coverage. Thanks to all the marshals, medics and officials for keeping everyone safe here today. My name's been Lewis Ray. Alongside me today was Adam Reid, and until next time, it is goodbye.
Thank you so very much for taking me on, Lewis, and I've been really enjoying these races. Thank you so much for watching. Take care.